We are supported by NASCAR. Invite the whole crew over and watch NASCAR honor those who have fought and continue to fight for our freedoms by tuning into the Coca-Cola 600 on Sunday, May 28th at 6 p.m. Eastern on Fox.
The story is me. I got involved with the Russian Mafia when I was 22 and we robbed a train.
Are you still scared about the Russian mob or no?
No, I think I've heard good things. I went opening weekend when you did the movie Ben and Matt Have Wings.
Dogma.
Please
don't watch my movies on silent because you'll turn them off.
I watch them in silent out of respect for your character.
Nice. Class. Excellent pull.
100%. Cheers. My movie, The Machine, is in theaters this weekend. You can go to themachine.movie to get your tickets. On Thursday the 25th, we'll be doing a limited live stream from the red carpet that'll air roughly 30 minutes before the movie starts. So like I said, go to themachine.movie and see if there's a theater near you that's holding the live stream. But on the 26th, the 27th, and 28th is its wide release. Please, I think you're going to love this movie. It is unexpected. It is funny. There is action. There is killing. There is drugs. Mark Hamill snorts coke. Let me tell you, I promise you, this is going to be a movie you like. So go to themachine.movie, get your tickets, and I'll see you at the movies. Enjoy the episode. Hey, guys, brand new episode of Two Bears, One Cave. And Tom looks good. You lost weight.
I did, man. Well, it's Christina, right? She's got me on the treadmill. And, I knew her before I met him.
For real?
Yeah. There was I want to say 5, maybe, at this point because of the pandemic. It might have been 10 years ago. We did a pilot. I was doing a pilot for a show called Tonightly. And so they didn't know who to pair me up with as a co-host.
Yeah.
I did a version of the show with Ralph Garman, and then they were like, let's pair you up with women. And the guy who created it was the guy who created the Ellen DeGeneres show and TMZ. So
he created TMZ?
That show.
That show. Yeah.
So he was like, TMZ needs a companion show for like 6:30 at night. And he was like, I think it could be you. And so one of the people that I did a pilot with was Christina, who is absolutely wonderful. And again, this is going back like 10 years.
She's better than Tom, arguably.
I was on Tom's show. What is it, Your Mom's House?
Yeah.
And she wasn't there.
Ooh.
And tell me
that's
about
called
it. What
Tom,
a fucking letdown.
That's called Tom Talks or Tom Talks in Espanol, and no one watches those.
He was absolutely delightful. But I was walking in there looking for the friendly and didn't find her, and then I was like, well, now I gotta fucking make it work with her husband. But I can make it work with anyone.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Does it hurt your feelings when close friends of yours don't come to your movie premieres?
Yes, of course.
Yep. Okay.
Of course. Are we going to talk about Ben Affleck right away? Because that's who comes to mind.
I would love to talk about Ben Affleck, but first,
if you keep calling him Ben Affleck, I will happily talk about him all. It reminds me of like when Ben was doing Armageddon.
Yeah.
I got to say a name that everyone hates, so clench your assholes. Harvey Weinstein, the former chairman of Miramax, rapist Harvey Weinstein.
I'm dying to talk about him
Harvey
too.
Weinstein.
Put Harvey Weinstein, put Ben Affleck.
Would call it Armageddon. That was, and we were all like, is he saying it on purpose or does he not know that it's pronounced Armageddon?
Yeah.
Now, that being said, least egregious thing the man ever fucking did. Let's be honest there.
Make Armageddon?
I'm sorry I brought the room down.
No.
Mispronouncing Armageddon.
I jokingly said to my daughter downstairs, I go, where I was talking about you, and I said, yeah, they worked with Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein still owes him money.
Does.
And then I said, maybe I'll say like, a lot of people talk bad about Harvey Weinstein, but what were some of his good traits?
This is going to be a short podcast.
Was he really a cunt?
Even not knowing all the horrible shit.
Yeah.
Which we didn't. Like, some people were like, how could you have not known? It's like, I fucking saw the dude when we made a movie.
Yeah.
It's not like we palled around or something like that. But even given all that shit, not knowing that shit, he was pretty horrible.
Really?
Yeah. One time here's a story I don't think I've ever told. Ready? So I made this movie called Zach and Miri Make a Porno.
Yeah, with Seth Rogen.
With Seth Rogen, who's wonderful in the fucking movie.
He's awesome. Dude, put down Hollywood. Keep going.
Put down Hollywood?
No.
Hollywood sucks.
I want to bring
run by.
I hung out with Arnold Schwarzenegger today, and I
was he here?
No. We went and worked out at Gold's Gym
together.
Yeah,
for
promoting my movie, The Machine. Yeah.
Is he in it?
No. I'm cutting off he's got a TV show on Netflix called Fubar, and so we're doing like a cross promotion, and.
After we're all done, you got to tell me how to be successful. This is fucking nuts.
You are a legend.
Have you shown people the fucking hat collection?
No, my hat game's sick.
Can I just tell people, like, I don't want to tell tales out of school, but I come to like this really nice fucking house in the valley, meet Bert's entire fucking family, and then find out it's not his family estate. That's somewhere else, and it's fucking 88 acres. This is just where he works. You are doing shit right.
Well, I got really lucky a couple times.
It ain't really luck. It's talent and fucking
Arnold
skill.
said the same thing. He goes, it's when your preparation meets opportunity.
I mean, if you want to use pithy bullshit, you can pull off the internet. Yes, then Arnold's right. But it's absolutely right. He's absolutely right.
I want to talk about Hollywood and what it
Why
used
do you keep
to be
pointing
like.
that way? Oh, so is that your prompt?
Because usually we write them at the front when we do Two Bears, but that's just in case we want to pull something up on the internet.
I also want to point out for the folks at home, you have a fucking team of at least 12 people working on this podcast. I've been podcasting since 2007.
Yeah.
You know who my team is? Fucking me. Also, you have cameras, which I guess is now de rigueur in the world of podcasting.
Yeah, it's got to be.
When I started, it was all audio.
You started. Hold on, don't let me forget Zach and Miri.
We'll get back to
it. You started the podcast game, like you, Rogan, Mark.
Bro,
you guys.
With all due respect, I'm pre-Rogan and pre-Mark.
You were the first. You.
I'm not going to say I'm the first. The first is
Smodcast.
Adam Curry is the pod father.
Yes,
oddly enough. When I started, I was doing Smodcast. Like the top 10 in the podcasting world was This Week in Tech with Leo Laporte, The Happy Tree Friends, which was an animated like cartoon podcast. Bill Maher's After Time, like whatever he did for real time, they would do an after time or whatever. So it wasn't even a dedicated podcast. It was just something they shot and put up there. And there was no Mark, there was no Nerdist, there was no Joe. I remember when Joe Rogan hit me up and was like, hey man, is Fleshlight a real thing? Should I use them as a sponsor? And I was like, number one, they are a real thing. Number two, like you'll get free Fleshlights at the very least. They sent me a box of 14 Fleshlights and I used them all. I guess that's the way to say it.
I fucked them.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They were. I just had a meeting with like Business Weekly, and I was trying to explain how I run my business.
Weekly, yes.
And I said, everything we work with, Liquid Death, Olipop, everything we work with is something I enjoy.
Yes.
And so that's how we get there. And I go, I think it started with the Fleshlight. I remember Rogan going like, everyone was like, you shouldn't use the Fleshlight. It's not a great sponsor. It's gonna and then I said to Joe, so you're really gonna use them? And he goes, have you fucked one yet? I said no, and he goes, fuck one. Yeah. And then I was like, hey man, can you get them to sponsor my podcast?
I honestly felt like that was the great equalizer. Like I ain't getting into a gender war here, but
yeah.
Women have had vibrators since the fucking turn of the century, or since washer machines existed and shit. And there was never anything for the man. And suddenly this was a game changer where it's like, now I have something to bring into my marriage. It's like, you want to keep yours right there? I'm going to keep mine right here. But I was ever too embarrassed to use it in front of my wife because it does kind of look goofy.
Why I see videos, I've seen porns of girls doing it to their guy, and I'm like, that makes no sense.
I've never seen that. Let's go back to the Business Weekly of it all. Fuck, you're doing it right.
No, I'm not. I mean, guys are doing it. I'm doing it on a very small scale.
When I was on fucking your mom's house, they also have a facility.
Well, I'm really lucky that I'm friends with Tom and Joe, and so I've kind of been I've been able to like kind of scoop off of them and realize what they've done that I've liked. Like I never liked renting a place and renting a warehouse, but both Tom and Joe are like swear by it. I like owning the house. I want to own the property.
So you own this house?
Yeah, I own this house. And
Jesus Christ.
And then,
from podcasting,
and
also by the stand-up. But do you feel the podcasting and the stand-up went hand in hand? For example, I thought in 2007 when I started podcasting, I thought I was brilliant because I was like, I figured out a business model where you record a free show and then that makes people show up to see your show when you're in town. And I thought that was the end, the end all be all end all. And then I never even considered advertising until somebody, like I was like, podcasting's free. And then one day, like a year into it, my business manager was like, free for everyone else. The server costs are fucking killing you. And I was like, what's that? So at that point I was like, I have to get money for this somehow other than me performing live. That's why I reached out to Fleshlight. They had sent me a very lovely letter after Zach and Miri Make a Porno, which we'll get back to, saying, because we feature it in the movie, they were like, hey man, if you ever want to do like a Kevin Smith mouth fleshlight, which I was way into. The idea of like, fuck my mouth, I'm Kevin Smith. They were like, reach out to us and we'll do it. And so I reached out to him to be like, hey, we do a podcast and there are server costs and stuff. So would you like to be like our Geritol? Remember like 21?
Yeah.
That, on quiz show, it's like they had a sponsor, Geritol sponsored the whole thing. I was like, we need a sponsor. And we're never going to get like fucking Pampers or Wonder Bread. But I was like, this fuck toy company seems like a good fucking fit.
I'm gonna tell. I hope you know the whole story. Do you know the whole story? Because if you don't, you're gonna want to put a gun in your mouth.
I already do. Walked into this place,
so the guy
met your lovely family, saw your staff of 100, and I was like, I'm doing life completely fucking wrong.
You know the guy that reached out to you about doing flashlights?
Yeah.
Aubrey?
Yeah.
Well, him and Joe started a company. You know that, right?
No.
On it. So Joe, you I mean, this is like
what do they sell?
Hold on. So Aubrey's a badass dude, right? He gets the flashlight. He reaches out to you. You introduce him to Joe.
I reached out to him.
Yeah, right. You reached out to him.
About being a sponsor. But they did write me a
You set him
nice
up with Joe.
Yes.
He meets Joe.
Yes.
And then he says to Joe, would you like to start a supplement company? And
That's
Joe
right.
said yes. They started a supplement company that just sold for like $900 million.
Oh my God! You're right. I do. Do you have a gun? Do you have everything in your hat collection? May I? Is there a gun under a hat that I can borrow?
No, but I think
you're going to send me back into a mental health facility. Hearing that
we're talking about that today. Write that down. Your thing is, my dad one time told me I wanted to open a bar called Rickshaws, and where it had rickshaws, it would be like on Ventura. You'd see like 5 rickshaws, and our deal, and it was called Rick and then Shaw's. But it was, and the idea was, if you live within half a mile, we'll pick you up in a rickshaw and take you home in a rickshaw.
That is fucking brilliant.
Okay, and so my dad,
I'm not even a drinker or a bar guy, but I could see the value in
my dad goes, buddy, God didn't give you a ton of skills. So like, don't think that just because you got successful in stand-up, you can start opening bars. He goes, stay in your lane.
Oh my God. What a fatherly piece of advice.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want you to, but like, I've done some business stuff, but it's all within stand-up. It's all within stand-up or podcasting. And for us, podcasting was, for me and Joe and Tom, it was an extension of social media to get people to shows.
Yes.
And I think people specifically come out, I know for a fact, because of this show right here,
yes,
and Bertcast, that is why they come to my shows.
That's how the podcast Hollywood Babylon that I do I still do with Ralph Garman.
Ralph's a great guy.
Amazing.
Ralph's a great fucking guy.
And Jay and Silent Bob Get Old, like in the early days, the heady early days of podcasting, filled our audiences like every damn night.
Smodcast was like it was the OG podcast. When you started a podcast, you went and listened to you guys, and it was just fucking. It was.
And you know what you get for that? Like, not even bragging.
Yeah, but how did you avoid getting?
How did I avoid success and money? Like
you should have millions of dollars coming in.
I should
for the podcast alone.
You're really rubbing it in.
But like I'm just.
Like
I will say this.
Can you find a different way to say it? But because you're absolutely right. I should, but I don't.
You need more Tom in your life.
Is he the business guy?
He's definitely. Well, I will tell you, we have a business together, this one, and then we run separate businesses. But
he's so mellow.
I will tell you, when I lost my job at Travel Channel, and this is a story everyone's heard a million times, but keep it in.
I'll take it.
When I lost my job at Travel Channel, I called him and Joe, and he said to me, buddy, at the time, he's like, I'm going to get you over 50,000 downloads per episode consistently. And once you get there, I can get you funding. I can introduce you to an ad sales team, and they can get you sponsors. And I made more money on that episode of the podcast than I did for Travel Channel. And I wasn't paying agents and managers. And I was blown away. And I went, motherfucker, I'm doubling down. Like this is the business model, because I don't have to pay agents and managers, and it's an hour of something I fucking truly love
to do. Exactly.
I love doing.
We are on the second floor, right? So I could hurl myself out the window and fucking. I don't need a gun.
But Tom, I'm being dead serious, and I'm being dead serious. Tom will 100% be like, "Let me help you." You know, it's what we excel in is very different things,
right?
But watching his brain work, like we were doing live streams during the pandemic, and we were selling tickets, and it was just astronomical business. And it changed the game. I mean, at one point Tom was like dealing with the company, and then he was like, fuck it, I'll make my own company. And he built his own. He's really is. But him and Joe are like, double down on yourself guys, like put the money on yourself.
I believe in that, but I don't know I have no idea what I've done wrong.
No,
I don't have a second house to podcast
You make
at.
awesome fucking movies.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
You're very sweet.
you
Let's
do.
just leave it at I make movies.
You make fucking awesome You were the turn of the change in Hollywood. You were the breath of fresh air. You and fucking Witchcraft in the Woods, whatever it was called.
Blair Witch.
Blair Witch.
I like your fucking title better. Witchcraft in the Woods is pretty hot. Somebody put that on the board and trademark and copyright that.
The two brothers and their friend rob a bank. What was that movie? Two brothers and their friend rob a bank in Texas. What was the name of that movie that was like all the fucking Owen brothers?
Bottle Rocket.
Bottle Rocket.
That is your title for Bottle Rocket?
I'm
Two
and
brothers and their friends rob a bank in
right?
Texas?
Isn't that what it was about? I had a hard time saying
I get that's more of a synopsis than a title, but once again, that title's better than Bottle Rocket.
But you guys
that sells the movie. What did fucking Bottle Rocket
You
sell?
guys changed Hollywood. You changed Hollywood. But you know you did. I mean, I'm telling you.
Can I here, I'll show you why I'm not successful, because instantly what I'd want to do is correct the whole Bottle Rocket thing. You know, they had studio help.
Did they?
They were fine. James
Really?
L. Brooks, who had done like fucking
James L. Brooks did
broadcast news and shit. No, that's Jim Abrams.
Okay.
We've done broadcast news and fucking the Terms of Endearment.
Yeah.
He saw a short they did and he got behind them and backed them to the tune of $5 million.
Wow. Okay.
So now, rather than play like the game where I'm like, yeah, the Wilson brothers, instantly my integrity jumps in and I have to fuck myself and shoot myself in the foot by being like, well, technically they did not do what we did, but they didn't.
What's the?
This is why Tom Segura won't help me.
No, I'm telling you, I'm
being facetious, but at the same time, when I saw that wall of hats out there, I was like, I have failed in my podcasting.
Dude, I'll get
endeavors.
you hooked up with hats.
Well, I mean, I got hats, but it's you have a separate house for podcasting that has wall space enough to just hang a fucking collection of hats that looks like a work of art. That belongs in MoMA.
Thank you. My wife. My business manager.
Your wife did that.
My wife did it. Yeah.
That is fucking phenomenal. You married up, my friend.
I know.
We are supported by NASCAR. NASCAR's 75th anniversary season is starting to heat up, with drivers giving it all they've got to lock in a playoff spot. This weekend, the NASCAR Cup Series is headed to Charlotte Motor Speedway for one of their biggest events of the year, the Coca-Cola 600. Wrapping up the 2023 NASCAR Salutes window, this weekend is about so much more than just a race. The entire racing community rallies around this event to show respect and gratitude to the brave men and women who protect the United States. The cars get decked out with some of the most unbelievable military-inspired paint schemes you'll ever see, and there's just a grandness to this race that's unlike any other on the schedule. If you don't have Memorial Day weekend plans yet, you have to check out NASCAR. Invite the whole crew over and watch NASCAR honor those who have fought and continue to fight for our freedoms by tuning into the Coca-Cola 600 on Sunday, May 28th at 6 p.m. Eastern on Fox.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. It is so easy to get caught up in what everyone else wants from you and never take a moment to think about what you need for yourself. I am a living fact of that. I've spent the last 3 months promoting my special, promoting my movie. I have a tour. I mean, I'm all up in other people's, in making sure that I can take care of a bunch of people, and then never thinking about taking care of myself. What's so great, I'm in therapy. I do online therapy. What's cool about therapy is you get to go back in your head and start digging it up, and then you can find the stuff that shows up when you're just not cool at a dinner party. I love therapy. If you're thinking about giving therapy a try, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule, which I'm telling you right now, I am a hardcore cosign on. I am not someone who wants to wait in traffic or wait in a waiting room. I love that I can just open my laptop or my phone at times and do therapy. Find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/bears today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/bears.
No kidding.
She bought a penny stock though. When she met me, she bought a penny stock and it has fucking split and doubled and split and doubled. No one saw that fucking happening.
You've written some books, right?
I wrote a book, yeah.
So you've definitely, the next book should be like, I was a human penny stock.
I was a rescue
or
dog.
It could be two brothers who rob a bank in Texas.
Yeah.
AKA Bottle Rocket 2.
You were a part of that whole fucking thing. That's
Brother,
the coolest.
A part of it?
Yeah.
I laid the track, son. No, here's who laid the track.
You did.
Here's who laid the track. The person I followed was Rick Linklater. He did Slacker,
dude.
And that made me go like, oh my God. Like, I'd never thought about making a movie. I'd only ever thought about watching them. When I saw Richard Linklater's Slacker, I was like, this counts as a movie? Because if that's the case, maybe I could make a movie too. So they're always, in order to be it, you got to see it first. And I saw him. And so he, to me, will always be the father of all this. When I made Clerks, right, at the end of Clerks, there was a dedication that said, for Richard Linklater, Hal Hartley, Spike Lee, and Jim Jarmusch, who led the way. And Ileana Douglas, who's an actress. And,
I know
and
she was.
Ileana.
She's the chick that got her face bit in Robert De Niro's movie.
Yes.
Guy that laughs loud in a movie
Cape
theater.
Fear.
Yeah.
What is the title of that?
Guy that
one?
laughs loud in a movie theater.
Genius. So she's such a genius. There's a whole book. You could sell a whole book on alt titles. Ileana Douglas told me this amazing story early in my career where she was at this point, I don't think I'm telling tales out of school, but she was dating Martin Scorsese back then. So I went out to lunch with her and Scott Mosier, my producer, and her producer and stuff. And she told me, she was like, well, me and Marty watched Clerks, and I had to stop her dead. And I was like, Martin Scorsese watched Clerks? This is in 1994. Like, that was fucking everything. And she goes, yeah. And I was like, what did he say? And she's like, well, he waited till the end of the movie. And at the end of the movie, she's like, you dedicate the movie to Jim Jarmusch, Spike Lee, Hal Hartley, and Richard Linklater, and said, for leading the way. And she said the only thing he said was, yeah, they led the way.
Because he was a part of the Easy Rider Red Bull era. Or not Easy Rider.
You're trying to get sponsorship from these fuckers as well? This isn't enough? This isn't enough? You're like, Red Bull, dropping
Easy Rider Red Bull. Easy Rider Raging Bull.
Still a better title right there. There's a guy who, indie film before there was indie film.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How much did you spend on Clerks?
$27,575. Probably about as much as you'll make from doing 3 live reads. Am I right? Am I close? How much did you get for a live read now? Don't look around. Just answer. Put it on the board. How much? Look at that figure. How does one gauge where one is in stand?
Whether you're headlining or whether you're featuring or whether you're hosting. That's like on a club weekend. On a club weekend, you have a headliner, host, and feature. Now, if these, and this is how you can gauge even who's a bigger headliner, is if you can bring your feature, then you're a big headliner. But if you're just going and the club gives you their feature, then you're just headlining. At the time, Tom and I was the headliner and Tom was the feature act. And then I started working for Travel Channel, and Tom did a special called Mostly Stories that blew the fuck up on Netflix. And he started headlining. And then we were like, for a second, we were like this.
Right.
And then he just skyrocketed. And I will say, and this is I give this all the credit to Tom, is as he skyrocketed, he kept me in the know of like, hey man, like this is what you have to do. Like he didn't sit on the info. He was sharing the info. He shared the info so much that I remember he called one time and he said, what? I said, I sold out Philly. He said, you should be doing the Troc. And I said,
Sugadera, I played there with Ralph. We've sold that out a few times back in the day.
Great.
Does it still exist?
Yeah, no. This building's still there, but I think they sold it.
Right.
I shot Secret Time there. And
is that right?
And this is a perfect example of Tom said, you should be out of the clubs. You should be out into the Troc. And I went, no. And he goes, what's your ticket price? I said, $20. He goes, raise them to $35. And I said, really? And he goes, raise them to $35. And once you can raise them to $35, you can sell out Thursday and Sunday, 2 shows on Thursday and Sunday, maybe even 3 on Saturday. Then you need to definitely be in theaters. And I never even I did that for like half a year. And then I went into the Troc. Now, a place where I told Tom I sold out the Helium for $20 for a weekend.
Right.
I did the Troc, which I think sits 600, 650.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I did 6 shows. And I was like, fuck, you're right. He goes, so Tom and I have always been 100% transparent with zero ego in how we share information, which has been absolutely invaluable to me.
Right.
And he said super wise things when everyone was saying the other thing.
Right.
And he's a weird guy. He doesn't need anyone. He doesn't need any praise. He doesn't need things. Like I'm like very vulnerable and sensitive. And even he deals with that shit, which is, Yeah, everyone needs a Tom in their life.
I need that Tom.
Yeah.
Not a Tom.
Get that Tom.
I would love to.
Get that Tom.
I wound up in the world of stand-up through a back door. I because of the movies, they put you out in front. You got to do Q&A after the movies and stuff. And then I remember, like, after Mallrats came out and tanked, I'm thinking about this lately because I was just in.
Mallrats is a great movie.
That's why I threw it out
Was that
there.
Jason Lee's
somebody
first
would
movie?
say that was a great movie.
Jason Lee's first movie?
It was absolutely Jason. Well, technically, Jason Lee popped up saying nothing in a movie called Mi Vida Loca by Allison Anders, and he's standing next to Spike Jonze in a dialogueless "we're buying drugs" little sequence.
Yeah.
But Mallrats, the first movie he says words in. He was a professional skateboarder.
Yeah, I know.
That's
how good of an actor Jason Lee is.
Yeah.
Is that people now find out he's a better skateboarder than he is actor.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's
and there was a time
insane.
when it was like he retired. When I met him on Mallrats, he was like, "I'm retired from professional skateboarding," and he was a fucking child, and I was like, "Retired." And then also professional skateboarding. All of these concepts were new to me and stuff. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I've been skateboarding at a professional level for the last 9 years. I was like, all right, fair enough.
He was awesome. I just watched a documentary on that era of skateboarders, and they talked about him because they were talking about the filming and how
he's starting to get his props now. Everyone knows like Tony Hawk and stuff, but Jason Lee is starting to get his props. I remember at one point he got off the board and he was like, I'm not going to go back on it. But then about 10 years ago, he stepped back on the board and he's kind of been bringing it back into his life. And with all due respect, he's an old man like me. In fact, I think he's got me by a year.
Really?
So at age 53 to be like fucking on deck is pretty damn
and he still
impressive.
looks good.
He looks very good.
There's some guys don't
eternally
age
youthful.
right. He's got eternal youth.
Even though right now he's got like a bushy whitish beard and he still looks fucking young.
Yeah.
But so because of the movies, I wound up doing a lot of Q&A, and after Mallrats tanked, the University of Delaware called like 3 months later and they're like, hey, we're going to show Mallrats. Do you want to come and talk after it? And since I was in New Jersey, it's like a 2.5 hour ride. I was like, yeah, all right. And so I went, and there was a room full of college kids watching the movie. This movie that I was like, fucking depressed over the failure of. It was no Clerks. And then all of a sudden I felt good after the Q&A. I'm like, fucking right on, man. Like it did find its audience. So then I started doing colleges like crazy, but not paid. Colleges would just call and be like, do you want to come talk after the movie? I was like, fuck yeah. And I'd drive to them, fly to them, whatever the fuck. So I was doing a Rutgers gig in Rutgers, Camden. I am 3 hours into a 5-hour fucking show. So I put up the episodes of the Clerks cartoon, which were never going to air, so I could go outside, grab a cigarette. I was a big cigarette smoker in those days. And the SAC kid, the Student Activity Center kid, was back there with me, and she's like, wow, man, like you've spoken for 3 hours. How much longer do you want to go? And I was like, until everyone's bored, I guess. And she goes, you talked way longer than Janine Garofalo. I was like, oh, Janine was here? Because I worked with her on Dogma.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, Janine was here? And she said, yeah, she was just here last week, man. And she only did 45 minutes and left. And I was like, oh. And then there's a bit of silence. And into the silence, this girl goes, and we paid her 20 grand. And I was like, what? Wait, what? And she's like, yeah, everyone gets paid for this. Why don't you? And I was like, what do you mean everyone gets paid for this?
God.
And she was like, there's a student activities fee. She's like, you're one of the most in-demand college speakers, and I assumed you got paid. After that gig, rather than be like, oh, damn, Skippy, I'm getting paid, this is what I was like, well, people are going to start paying for my gas, I'll tell you that much. And people would give me like $50 for gas. And I did that for 6 months until some agent was like, you could probably make a lot of money doing this. So I was doing the college scene like crazy. I would never go near stand-up clubs because I didn't consider myself a comedian. To me, I revere comedians. And the idea of like going to a comedy club, it's like, I didn't earn that. I never had a tight five. I never did, a set or anything like that. I'm just a guy who gets up and answers questions, and I answer them very long and comedically. So I did college gigs all the time. Then I moved into theaters, smaller theaters and stuff, but skipped stand-up joints. Then one day, I'd been doing it for like fucking 8 to 10 years, and there was it was a musical with the guy that did that talk show where he sits down at the end and he goes, my closing thoughts. He just passed away recently. Jerry Springer.
Oh,
they did Jerry Springer the musical, and this company had booked Carnegie Hall for 3 nights in a row, but they could only sell 1.5. So their Sunday night show or whatever the fuck, they could not sell. So they were at my agency at that time. I was with Endeavor before they were William Morris Endeavor. And the guy, Jared, was asking, I think his name's Jared Hess, was asking around like, do you have any entertainers that might want to take the third slot? And my then agent, who's now like a owner of that place, he was like, oh, like Kevin Smith is my client. And I think he does like Q&A shows and stuff. Like, you want to see if he'll do it? And so they were like, do you want to do Carnegie Hall? And I had less than a month to sell tickets. But I was like, Carlin did Carnegie, and I've never imagined I'd get close to Carnegie Hall for anything. So I was like, fuck it, we'll try. And so I used social media to sell it out. It took me like fucking 28 days, but I'd made it a game where I was like, we've sold this many tickets. We've sold this many tickets.
Yeah.
And I sold out Carnegie Hall. After that, then I started doing theaters like fucking crazy, and it was me by myself. So into this world, like I've been doing podcasting on the side since 2007. I'm doing Smodcast with Scott Mosier. One day Scott Mosier's like, I need to make money. And we've been joking for years about doing Smodcast live. So I was like, who would ever do that? Who would ever take a podcast and sit down in a stand-up joint? But I was like, we should do that. We'll take it out. I bet you I can make you like 10 grand. So I had my agent.
What year is this?
This is 2009.
Okay.
2008, 2009, because it eventually leads to me touring movies to Red State and my current model of taking movies out on the road. So I had my booking agent call up all the same places that I would go to. And I was making pretty great money as a solo fucking act, as an evening with Kevin Smith, still avoiding fucking comedy clubs like the plague, only because I didn't feel like I was worthy for that. I was like, I don't come up with my own material. I answer questions. Like, a comic goes up there by themselves, fucking unleashes their pain and shit. And I've never really done that. All I do is answer questions. So I said to the agent, I was like, hey man, book us on a podcast tour. He's like, what is it? Because nobody had ever done a podcast.
For anyone listening, you got to remember, Rogan hadn't started his podcast yet.
No.
So Corolla hadn't started his podcast yet.
I remember when Adam started his
so
podcast
this is, I mean, this is insane. This is like Ricky Gervais had a podcast, I think, at the time?
He was the original podcaster that I'd heard of. First time I ever heard the term podcast was Scott Mosier going like, have you heard the Ricky Gervais podcast? I was like, what's that? And technically, he didn't do it as a podcast. Yeah, it was like he did it as a radio show that I think The Guardian or one of the London papers put out and referred to it as a podcast. But it was not his intent to be like, this is a podcast. Yeah. It was backdoor podcast. So people hadn't thought about doing it on stage. Stand-up places were still fucking stand-up. So I thought we'd go out and fetch the same money that I got for being solo. But all of them were like, what is this? Like, what do you mean you're going to sit there and talk to your friends? And are you going to take questions from the audience like you do? It broke my business model. And so my touring guy was like, you're going to have to do these shows for like 5-10 grand a pop and shit. So I was like, whatever. If we have to educate them, we'll educate them. Whoa, so we went to little punk rock clubs. And that's when I first started going into comedy clubs. They were the only ones who were willing to take it. But nobody knew what a live podcast was at this point. It's so fucked up. So we go on this tour and shit, and we do like 10 shows. And from there, I was doing a podcast with Jason Mewes called Jay and Silent Bob Get Old. And so Jason's wife, Jordan Monsanto, who runs our company, Smod bless this woman, she was like, I'm going to try to book this show out in the world, because we were doing it at I picked up a little theater on Santa Monica Boulevard, and I renamed it Smod Castle, and we started doing live shows. There was like a 48-seater. So me and Ralph Garman were doing Hollywood Babylon there. Yeah. That was a failed radio show. Ralph wanted to do the Showbiz Beat on weekends, and we recorded a pilot. And K-Rock was like, nobody wants to hear people talk on the radio anymore. So I came in on K-Rock one day to be like, hey man, I opened this podcast theater. And Ralph was like, what if we did Showbiz Beat from there? And he's like, I can't call it Showbiz Beat because K-Rock owns it. So I said, let's call it Hollywood Babylon and stuff. So we've been doing Babylon at Smod Castle for like 2 months. And Ralph could sell it out so fast because he was on K-Rock. Yeah. So he'd make like one announcement on Monday, and we'd sell out by like midday Monday. And so he was like, we could probably take this to like a comedy club. And he went to 2. He went to the Improv, and then he also went to the John Lovitz Comedy Club. Up on
Universal
City Walk. So John Lovitz gave us 90% of the gate, whereas the Improv only gave us like 85 or something. Yeah. So we were like, fuck it, let's go there. And so suddenly we were doing a podcast where we can sell out 250, I think was their sellout per night. And then I brought Jay and Silent Bob Get Old up there, same thing. Jordan had the foresight to be like, I'm going to try to take it outside of Los Angeles. And the first show she booked was that in Orlando, the Hard Rock, that joint that looks like a fucking Coliseum. It sold out so fast. And we were like, people must love this podcast. And it had nothing to do with the podcast. It's just Jay and Silent Bob was a name for movies that most people knew and understood.
Yeah.
So slowly I went from being a solo act that did theaters to like a podcast act that did punk clubs and then comedy clubs. And then slowly we moved back into theaters.
This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Guys, let's talk about sex. Remember the days when you were always ready to go? Now you can increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Listen up, BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same ingredients in Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. Listen, you have no idea how hard you can get with these things. I've taken them. I'm harder than I've ever. Right now, I'm hard during this ad read because I took a Blue Chew a little while ago. And you're going to impress her, him, it, whatever you're into. It's a real boost to your sex life and to your confidence. You're harder than you deserve, basically. Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code BEARS at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code BEARS to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information, and we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast.
And one day, my agent was like, I don't know if it was Helium or somebody was like, we want you to do a night of shows. And my bias, my own personal bias against like, well, I'm not a stand-up comedian. I haven't earned that yet. Yeah. I forget who it was, but there was one comic who said this to me, Kevin, you're really shooting yourself in the foot by not doing a comedy club. If you fill it with your audience, it doesn't fucking matter. Like your audience just needs a place to see you. And so I was like, all right, maybe I could do that. And then that's when I kind of started doing comedy clubs. And like me and Ralph went from the John Lovitz to eventually we went to the Improv. And for a good, 5, 6, 7 year stretch, sold out every fucking show. They put us up on the wall. Like before they changed ownership during the pandemic, they would always credit us with like, you fucking saved the Improv, which meant the world to me because I used to watch Evening at the Improv as a kid in the 80s on fucking cable TV. Now, all that fucking humble bragging to the side, how come I don't have a separate fucking house to do my podcasts in? It can't just be Tom Segura. What am I fucking doing wrong?
My business model is watch what Kevin Smith does and then wait 15 years and do it yourself.
God damn it. I'm going to do that same thing, see if it works.
I think I would argue, I mean, I'm using this podcast to promote my movie aggressively. And
Which
I'm
comes
hoping
out,
that
May 26th?
May 25th. May 25th, Memorial
That's
Day
right,
weekend.
yeah.
The Machine is in theaters.
Do you have tracking yet? Have you popped up on tracking? Do you know how you're going to do? Who's putting it out first and foremost?
Sony.
Oh, fucking you need no help whatsoever. What was the budget of the movie? Are you allowed to say?
Yeah, I think. I don't know. I've broken a few rules.
Break it here.
I think 20 million.
They're going to make a pile of fucking money. There's no way that this movie doesn't break through. It'll probably get to like 80 to 100 million bucks.
Remember, I want to inspire people to go back to the movie theaters because good movies still are having a hard time in movie theaters.
Yeah.
And I want people to. I love eventizing life. I love doing that with my tour. I love doing that. Even when I did this last arena tour, I bought a very expensive
I'm
lighting.
going to pause you right there. When you say arena tour, that's what you're doing now?
I'm doing arenas exclusively, yeah.
Oh, my God. Can we go to the third floor and I can jump out the fucking window? That way I'll definitely die.
No, but...
Fucking arenas? Are you serious?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying you haven't earned it. You've put in the work and fucking like, you blew up fucking huge. But, I've never done an arena. And I don't think I ever will.
Do you want to come and do one with me?
Fuck yes.
Okay, done.
God, yes.
Done. Have him come on one of the fully loaded dates.
Put that on the board.
Throw him on there. We'll throw him on there.
I would do that in a heartbeat.
We have a list of dates. You can just pick one. You can
God.
do the whole weekend with us.
In a fucking
We'd
heartbeat.
do fully loaded during the summer. We put like 9 comics on a show. We go into arenas. We're doing the Gorge. We're doing Forest Hills out in New York.
And how big are these arenas?
15.
Oh my God.
And so,
my God.
yeah, they're really fun. They're really fun.
I would do it just for the fucking fun of doing it. I've never done.
Oh, dude, everyone will
arena.
love to have you. We have an insane lineup. We have Lewis Black, David Tell, Tiffany Haddish, Mark Norman, Shane Gillis.
Now you're intimidating me.
These
are legit comedians.
Oh, they're legit comedians, and we have a blast. And the whole thing is like set up around having a great time for us, and then doing these shows. And the doors open at 5, show starts at 7, sun sets at 8:30, and it's like a full fucking day.
When you say sunsets at 8:30, are
So
these outdoor arenas?
We do a couple outdoor ones, not less this year.
Awesome.
Less this year. The Gorge is the big one. The Gorge is we're closing it, and that Gorge I think ultimately holds like 45,000 people. We won't fill that, but all we need to sell is like fucking 10,000, 15,000. But
and that's okay. Like you won't sit there on stage and be like, "Fuck, we didn't sell it out."
No, I don't. I'll never see with the Gorge seats. We'll never fill the Gorge. That's like.
But it don't matter.
It doesn't matter to me. All I need, I know what our nut needs to be, and our nut needs to be really at 9,000. We've already sold. I think we've already sold almost all the tickets we can sell. So yeah, but they're fun. When we walk downstairs, you'll see a list of dates. You can pick whatever you want to do.
Fucking A.
And
I would do that just for the experience of being on stage in an arena. Although that lineup is very intimidating.
So fun. But I love eventizing life, and I'm trying to.
I noticed by all the ads as we came up too, the fucking bills, the posters.
Dude, I
love it.
I love, and my goal is to get people to want to go to the movies. Can you sell the experience of going to the movies, of how fun it was for you as a kid?
Yes.
It was for you as an adult. Highlights, like I mean, for me personally, I have a couple real touchstone moments in movie watching it. It was Ghostbusters. Like,
that name, you know.
Yeah,
it's not like movie with movie with Harold Ramis where they go after dead people.
Ghostbusters was like
you describe movies like it's a Jeopardy category.
You should see me do impressions. I was doing impressions the other day, and I was like, I forgot how I was doing them, but I forget anyway. So,
take that off the board. Impressions,
but I was really bad at impressions. But I remember being in the summer when it's raining and it's hot in Florida, and
are you a Florida kid?
A Florida kid.
What part did you grow up in?
Tampa.
Fucking Tampa, man.
Yeah.
So you know the Tamiami Trail.
Oh yeah, of course.
Do you know that is where like the predominantly where most of the strippers and hookers in America come from, that Tamiami Trail.
For real?
Yeah, somebody read that fact off to me one day, and I was
tracks.
like, why? But let me ask you this, because you grew up there.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Is it more permissive in Florida, or here's my theory: it's all hot, so people are wearing less clothing.
Well, I used to think that's why women in Florida were more attractive than anywhere else, because the less amount of clothing, the more you want to take care of your body, and then
that would make sense,
except for my body. But but I will tell you, our sensibility about strip clubs from Florida is extremely different than like when I meet other people.
Explain.
Strip clubs for us were a thing you did at the end of the night when the bars closed. You go to the strip clubs, and a lot of times you could bring in your own booze, and they let you. And so everyone would meet at strip clubs. So you'd be there with your best friends, your best friend's girlfriends, all their friends, your future girlfriends, your girlfriend. And so it was like.
But you're not necessarily there to see people naked. It's just a gathering place.
You are. Like, people would get lap dances, but no one like looked down. Like, I have a friend whose wife won't let him get lap dances, and I think that's fucking insane. Because like I don't know if I could be married to someone like that. Because I'm like, no, I'm not doing anything. Like it's you have to understand that this action and cheating on you are very different things.
Agreed.
And so, but in Florida, it was just like, I mean, when we were 15 years old, we all got fake IDs at Kinko's. And because you could print up you could make an identification card.
So wait, when I was in high school, there was no Kinko. How old are you?
I'm 50. It was whatever it was. It was like Kinko's or whatever the copy store was.
So I got you by 2 years. I'm 52.
Yeah, I'm 50.
And you own your own podcasting house.
Yeah.
Again, what the fuck am I doing wrong?
But you get an ID at like whatever our copy store is.
Right.
I thought it was Kinko's, but you could get an ID. You could write your own ID. You go your age and you just wrote it down.
It seems more permissive in Florida regardless.
It
does. It seems like that's not the crime they're looking after or looking for. They're not like trying to bust kids with fake IDs.
There's so many things that growing up in Florida, I say to people,
how often do you play that Tampa Theater down there? Well, now you must play the Tampa fucking arena.
It's the Emily
but
Center.
when you did the Tampa Theater for the first time, which I'm assuming you did, were you like, fucking king of my hometown?
I was, Tampa Theater was a big deal. Selling out the Improv was a big deal for me.
The Improv here or in
Tampa was a really big deal.
How much? What do they see? 250, 400?
No, they're like probably 310 because it's all the way to the top.
That's right. They got levels.
Yeah, they got levels. But selling out the Tampa Theater, I sold 4 shows at the Tampa Theater, and I was like, man, my parents came. My dad's had never seen me do stand up, and he sat in the back. He didn't watch. He sat in the back, but he came out on stage and ripped his shirt off at the very beginning, and the place went nuts. That was a big moment.
Have you been ripping shirts off since the beginning?
No, I started like.
Did he do it first? And you were like, "That's a good idea."
Dad?
Your dad.
No, yeah. I was
like, I'm totally stealing that.
Yeah, as a kid,
that's my Gallagher with the watermelon. There's my fucking mallet right there.
As a kid, he'd walk in the house and rip his shirt off. I go, that would work.
That sells.
That sells. The pop, man. You should hear my sisters. But when
was he super proud?
Well, he's always been proud, but he doesn't show it very well. It was. I mean, he just is like he's an old school dude,
right?
And
I had one of those. He dropped dead 20 years ago.
For real?
Yeah. Coming up June 3rd, it'll be the 20-year anniversary of him dropping dead. It was all right, though. I mean, he went out in such a great way. We all
got
went
to see your success.
A little bit. He saw up until he died right before Jersey Girl came out, and that didn't do well. So I'm kind of glad that he went before that came out, because he would have been like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? You had it all." But yeah, he was a big. You want to talk about the movie theater experience? I think I became a filmmaker because my dad used to take me to the movies. Like, he would pull me out of Catholic school on Wednesdays to go to the first matinee because it was like $1.50. And I remember my mom told me, like, the first time he was going to do it, she was like, "Your dad's going to come and pick you up for half day, and he's going to take you to the movies." And I was like, "What do I tell my teacher? What do I tell the nuns?" It was parochial school, Catholic school, Our Lady of Perpetual Help. And my mom was like, "Tell them your aunt died." And I was like, "All right." And so I went to school. I was like, "My aunt died, so my dad's going to pick me up." And he came pick me up at noon, and I got called down to the office. Sister Gloria Louise was like, "I'm so sorry about your aunt, and we'll pray for us and thank you." And then we went to see Raiders of the Lost Ark. Formative experience. Number one, it's a great movie. But number two, my father was a man of very few words, very circumspect. He's not like me. He's not open. He doesn't wear his heart on his fucking sleeve. Well, he doesn't wear anything anymore. He's fucking dead. But he was not that kind of guy that was like, "Son, let's share." You know what I'm saying? How he communicated with me was by taking me to the movies. And, he would gauge what he thought I could handle. Like, he took me to see The World According to Garp when I was 12.
I saw that.
And it's a great movie, but it is not a movie you'd necessarily take a 12-year-old to. But he was like, he can handle this shit. But he would take me to the things.
That's where I learned the term Tourette Gunner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fucking A, man.
I remember we watched that on VHS at my house.
It's a wonderful fucking flick. So he took me to see Raiders of the Lost Ark. And my father, who was very quiet, lit up like a fucking child. Like, throughout the opening 10 minutes of that movie, he was like, "Do you love this?" He's going, "This is the kind of movie that I used to go to when I was a kid with your aunt, and they were called cliffhangers, and you pay a little bit of money, and then you had to come back the next week." He's like, "They're making cliffhangers again. This is great. You having a great time?" It was like he was doing fucking rails. He was so fucking excited and shit. And so the joy, the exuberance that my father lit up with when he was in a darkened movie theater obviously made an impact. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I only did films because I was trying to recapture that moment with my dad, but it certainly fucking helped, man.
Yeah.
And my dad worked at the post office, mercifully never fucking killed anybody, but he hated his fucking job. And so he was also influential there because he hated his job so much that I was like, when I got older, I was like, I would rather risk doing something that could turn into something, doubling down on myself, so to speak, to borrow the phrase, rather than just go work for some fucking corporation or the government, because he was so fucking miserable doing it. So I own the movie theater now that my father used to take me to when I was a kid. Me and my friends last year in September bought what was called the Atlantic Movie House. When I was a kid, it was called the Atlantic Highlands Twin Cinema. But now it's got 5 screens. We renamed it Smod Castle Cinemas. And I'm there twice a month doing shows all the time. Like, me and Jason Mewes just showed Jane Silent Bob Strike Back to a sellout house and stuff like that. Jason Lee, the aforementioned Jason Lee, came 3 weeks ago. We did Chasing Amy. That was sold out. No, I'll tell you right now, no new movies fucking sell. Opening night of Avatar 2, Friday night at 7:00, we had 12 fucking people. Creed 3, which did very well everywhere else. 6 people on opening night. Fucking Shazam at all and fucking died. The one fucking movie that I will give Hollywood credit for and thank and suck the dick of from now until the end of time is that little Italian man, Super Mario. because oh my God, that's the movie that has earned the most at Smodcastle Cinemas outside of the
I've had
personal
so
shows
many
I do.
people talk to me about that fucking movie.
People love it, dude.
Yeah.
Like kids. I was there cleaning up, like we had a fucking leak on the, like 2 weeks ago. It was really fucking rainy and shit. And I was cleaning up, like mopping and shit. Shit I hadn't done since Quick Stop, man, but I'm that kind of owner. And I was mopping up this leak outside of Theater 4 where there was a kids party and they were showing Super Mario Brothers. And it was like a bunch of fucking like Baptists in church. They were so fucking loud. They were screeching through the end of the movie. And then they all collectively sang that Jack Black song during the credits. I was like so moved. I was like, this reminds me of my fucking childhood.
Here's what I want. I don't know if you can do it, but you are a good talker. I think I'm a pretty good talker.
Okay.
And I can
bring the machine to my movie theater.
What's that?
Bring the machine to my movie theater. We'll do a fucking screening. That'll fucking sell out.
That. I would love that.
I know you're a busy guy.
No, I'm not. Everything I'm doing right now is about this movie. I got one opportunity. I think I feel like I've had a lot of people hit me up. A lot of comics have hit me up and been like, if your movie does good, I bet they start bringing back comedies because it's so hard to do comedies.
Well, are you presenting it like the routine or are you presenting it like a fiction narrative?
Wait, do you know who plays my dad?
No.
Oh, you're going to lose your shit.
Is there a fourth floor that I can throw myself out?
You're going to lose your shit. You're going to lose your shit. I may not tell you.
Tell me. John Belushi? Because that'd be nuts.
That would be great. Him or Farley would have been great. Although I think I'm Farley's age. I
think you've beat Farley's age at this point.
The movie is based on the... have you seen the trailer?
I've not seen the trailer, but I know the bit.
Yeah,
I know
no. So don't hang on. Don't take the screen down. I want to tell you on it.
Okay.
So, no. Stop. So, the movie is based on me and my dad getting kidnapped by the Russian mafia.
I remember the story. I've seen you tell that story.
No. The story is me. I got involved with the Russian mafia when I was 22 and we robbed a train.
This is not that?
It's based off that.
Okay.
But it's me and my dad getting kidnapped by the Russian mafia and me having to go right the wrongs of me robbing that train. And then me and my dad having to beat the mafia.
It's taking the routine and then building on top of it.
And my dad is played by Mark Hamill.
Well, I've worked with him. I'm not.
I know, okay.
Now I'm back to the second floor window.
You got married at Skywalker Ridge.
I did.
Mark, wait.
I'm not. This is going to be a humble brag, but there was a period where, Mark wasn't Mark for a minute.
Yeah.
Like when all those Star Wars movies were done and people didn't give a fuck and whatnot. And Harrison Ford was working, but Mark wasn't. We did Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and I cast Mark as Cockknocker in the Blunt Man and Chronic movie. And in the movie, like when he first comes through the fucking punches through the wall and pulls his giant fist back, we freeze frame and it says, "Hey kids, it's Mark Hamill." Applause. So I remember his kid Nathan really thanked me. I got to thank his kid Nathan because Mark told me, he goes, "I don't know your work at all."
I think Nathan did the same thing for me. I'm being dead serious.
Probably.
I think either that or his other son did the same thing for me because he's like, I'm not familiar with you. But my son said, I gotta watch
the same
stuff.
Fucking pitch.
He's got cool fucking
my
kids.
Kid, he goes, I'd never do Star Wars oriented stuff because we lightsaber battle in that movie. He goes, but there have been two things that my kids made me do. One was The Simpsons, and the other is this. They say they like your movies and shit. So Nathan, after we did that, I met him years later because he was younger and stuff. I met him at the Scum and Villainy Canteen, my friend JC's bar out here. The Star Wars, you can't say Star Wars bar, he might get sued. Space opera themed bar.
Yeah.
And so I met him finally and I got to thank him because I was like, fucking dude, unless you say to your dad, you should do this, your dad never touches this. And he was very sweet. He was like, the fact that you froze the movie to shout him out and it said applause in every screening, people would fucking applaud. We just showed it last weekend again at my theater with Jason Mewes. And people applaud the moment he comes on screen, but then when the applause moment came on, they went fucking doubly hard. I love Mark.
I love
to
Mark.
death.
I love Mark.
And the fact that he plays your dad is fucking astounding. That's awesome.
I knew you guys married at Skywalker Ranch. I was like, oh shit. No, Mark plays
Hamill
my dad.
and his wife took me to
shout out to
Mary Lou.
Mary Lou's
wonderful.
Fucking awesome.
Mary Lou took it. Really, was Mary Lou more than Mark. Took us to the only time I've ever gone to the Playboy Mansion when my kid was little for the Easter egg hunt with the bunnies and shit. She was very tight with all the people there and stuff. She's great. I know Chelsea.
I texted with Chelsea last night.
Wonderful. I texted with her last week. When I was directing an episode of Flash, Mark was like, Chelsea wants to shadow you. And I was like, oh my God, come on out. So I hung out with her for like 2 weeks. They're beautiful, beautiful
I lived
people.
with him in Serbia for 3 months.
In Serbia. That's what he was doing over there.
Yeah.
I remember when he was talking about fucking, I'm in Serbia doing a thing. He does the voice of Skeletor on my Masters of the Universe cartoon on Netflix. Yeah, Revelations called, and then the new one coming up is called Revolution. But he's the new voice of Skeletor.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's
very generous with like Star Wars stories.
And he's very, isn't he knowledgeable about pop culture just in general?
Yeah.
He's the guy who honestly should be selling out fucking arenas just telling stories.
He's a great storyteller.
He is.
And he was a joy to be around. Like, the thing you would always worry is like, if people bring up Star Wars, is he going to be like, ugh? But he tells you those stories like he's telling it for the first time.
Right.
And he's like, and he has no ego about him. I loved working with Mark.
He does an incredible
He's coming here
Harrison
tomorrow. We're
Ford
doing a
impression.
podcast
Are
tomorrow.
you?
Yeah.
I love him to death. He's so awesome. That is great. Now let's go back to the release of the movie.
Yes.
There's no way this movie doesn't fucking hit.
I pray.
And you shot it in Serbia?
Shot it in Serbia.
What was that like?
It was the greatest experience of my life.
Are you serious?
It was so I never really cared about making a movie. I enjoyed movies.
Somebody's chasing us with a drone right outside.
Sounds like it, right?
It's got to be. Somebody's trying to get a picture of you on a drone. That's how famous you are.
I loved watching movies, but as far as like acting and movie making, I just figured that's not my thing. I'll never end up doing it. And I kind of just was like, and I'm cool with that. I'd gotten offers to do like small acting things, and I was like, I'm good. I'll just podcast and do stand up. And then I sold this at Legendary. I was trying to sell 3 different movies, but I sold it at Legendary on accident because he goes, I'll make a movie. Which one do you want to make? And I was like, well, if we're going to make a movie, I should make The Machine.
Who is it? Who at Legendary?
Cale Boyder.
That cat, I don't know.
And he goes, yeah, why didn't you pitch that? And I was like, I don't know. I was just tired of pitching it.
Why, you pitched it before?
I pitched it so much and everyone had passed.
Right. And
so he goes, why, what? And I go, I don't know. I go, what if I do make this movie and it's successful? And then the Russian mob kidnaps me, and he goes, sold. And I went, what? And he goes, sold. I fucking love it. And he goes, it's The Hangover meets Godfather 2.
That's dope.
And I was like, I didn't even know what the fuck was going on.
Are you still scared about the Russian mob or no?
No, I think I've heard good things.
About the Enterprise in general?
I've heard they're cool dudes.
I hear they're on their up and up.
Look, I'll tell you, everyone I've ever met in the Russian mob was a solid fucking dude. I'm being dead serious.
That's a fucking plug right there,
yeah.
man. If they took poll quotes, they should put that on their poster.
And I've heard people in Brighton Beach, out where the Russian community is really big.
Out by Coney Island.
That people have seen the story and they go, oh, that happened. That definitely happened. I think that's my son that he was with.
Are you serious?
So I've heard people say that to me, yeah.
Is there any part of you that's a little scared?
A little bit, yeah. I especially when I did a general meeting with the people who do Barry, and they were like, so how did you, like, what was the vetting process for the mafia thing? Because like we wanted to use Russian mafia, and they were like, that's way too dangerous. And I was like, huh.
You're like, vetting process?
I go, vetting process. I told this on fucking Rogan's podcast. What do you mean vetting process? And they're like, because we were going to do this.
This is the one piece of advice that Tom Segura has not been helpful with.
Yeah, right. Well, fuck, if that's how I go out, that's how I go out.
Look at that shit. That's fucking living right there.
I'm a ride or die. But in doing the movie,
yes,
in going there and making the movie, my very first day, and I don't know if I've said this or not, but I was not going to drink. I was not going to drink. And
are you a big drinker?
I'm a huge drinker. And
is that a Floridian thing?
Yeah, I think so. And I started drinking with the Russian mafia. That's when I really started drinking in life.
But you would not consider yourself a problematic drinker.
I'm definitely not.
Definitely not.
I'm definitely not.
You drink to have fun, but not drink because you're like, if I don't drink, I'm fuck. You don't consider yourself an alcoholic.
I'm 100% not an alcoholic.
That's awesome. Good for you. Nothing wrong with drinking.
Yeah.
As long as don't drink you.
Drinks drink me sometimes, but I'm drinking the most of the time.
Right.
So I win most of our battles.
Drink under the table. You're like Marion Ravenwood in Raiders of the Lost Ark. And
yeah.
Drink falls over and you're still standing.
So I get there and Cale goes, we go to dinner the first night and they order a bottle of wine. I'm like, I'm good. And he goes, what are you doing? I was like, I'm not going to drink. And he's like, no, the fuck you are. And he goes, hold on. I didn't hire sober Bert. I hired regular Bert. And he goes, if we're making a movie and you're trying to white knuckle it by not drinking in a foreign country away from your family for 3 months, then you won't have a good time. He goes, this should be fun.
You didn't bring the family?
No, it stayed here.
It stayed here.
And so I said,
they stayed here.
They identify as it. So he said to me, and I don't know if this is good advice or not,
Right.
but he goes, I can't. He goes, I don't know if this movie's gonna be successful or not. No one can tell that. What I can tell you is, if you have a good time making this movie, it'll show up on screen.
True.
So he said, so have a fucking blast. He goes, this may be the only time you ever make a movie, so enjoy every part of it. And Kevin, I fucking left Serbia. I sold another movie right after that, and I was like, I'm in. I want to make movies. This is what I want to fucking do. This is so much fun. The summer camp feel of everyone getting around and all being on the same thing. The hardest part of this movie for me, dead serious, has been the promotion of it.
Why?
I never understood. I
would imagine that would be the easiest part of your wheelhouse when it comes to the process.
It would seem that way, but it makes me very vulnerable.
In what way?
In that I'm annoying people and I'm talking too much about the same thing over and over and over again.
But isn't that what a comic does?
It is, but for whatever reason,
you feel selly. You've earned it, my friend. You've earned it.
Really?
Like, and no one will begrudge you this moment. Now, going forward, like if on the next movie, I mean, that's not even true. You've earned it. I don't think anybody's going to come down. Has Tom Segura come down on you and said that ain't the way to do it?
No. Well, no one knows. Right. None of our friends. I mean, not none of our friends, but none of our friends technically have starred in a major motion picture.
He said he financed a film when I was on his show. And
it's more of a. I don't think it's a movie. I think it's a TV series.
Right. Is that what it's become?
I don't know. He really is tight-lipped about it because he's not like me. Like, I'll tell you everything I'm doing. Tom kind of just keeps everything close to him. Right. I saw like a clip of one thing and I was like, when do I get to see more? And he was like, I don't know.
So weird because you guys are like thick as fucking
I show him everything I fucking do. And we sold our next movie, Fat Astronauts, in the tent in Serbia.
That's awesome.
And so
to Legendary?
Yeah, to Legendary.
Nice.
And but I don't know. It's made me very vulnerable and
don't be. It's so in your wheelhouse, and there's nothing wrong with promoting. This is your first time at that. Nobody's going to be like, "Ew, stop talking about."
Like you look at
this is a dream come true you didn't even realize you had.
Can I tell you?
People will begrudge you, and I don't even think it's going to begrudge you. I just think people are like rooting for you.
I hope.
Who is against you?
I don't know.
See, nobody. You can't even think about it. Not even the Russian mob. You're like the Russian mob is giving you good reviews.
I hope they are. It's the thing. There's a part of like me that goes, I don't want to feel like I am the person that wants to love the moment. Like I look fondly back at old Hollywood. Like the idea that like I'm gonna say Ben Affleck as an example. I lived right around the corner from him when he lived over on Outpost.
Okay.
And
do you know that's where I live now?
Yeah, I did.
I bought Ben Affleck's house.
Yeah, I did.
I've lived in it for the last 22 years.
I did know that. Yeah. I actually did know that. I fucking did know that. And I know one of the cars you have out front.
Yeah,
I used to drive by the house all the time.
Where did you live?
I lived over on Glencoe, over by over more towards the bowl by Hollywood Highland.
Yeah. That's where Musey lived, and then he sold the house, and he lives over in Las Feliz area.
Yeah.
But wait, so you don't live in that area anymore?
No. We live actually. We're
You're
almost
like
next
fucking
door.
look at. I have a second house for podcasting. Why the fuck would I live in that?
I would love to live in that area. I love that area.
Nice. It is. Yeah, it's going to be tough to get. We're putting the house up for sale. If you want to buy that house, bro. You want to talk about a podcasting palace? If you want to buy, as you call him, Ben Affleck's house.
You know that would be like. I would drive by. I would jog. So I jog up Outpost. Sometimes I'd jog over by that house and I would look at that house. I actually knew you lived down at the time,
right?
But I remember hearing that there was a Guinness refrigerator and a pool on the roof.
Yes.
And I used to think that was before I knew anything about anything, and I was hosting like a late night TV show.
Right.
I would think that's the goal. In that goal, you also had to be young. I wanted to be young. I want to be young and
50's
cool.
still young.
50's still young these days.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
But like. Your moment when you got out here,
yes,
and you and Ben and Matt and all these guys were doing such huge things. That was like that. You know that's dead now. That doesn't exist.
It doesn't happen.
It doesn't. Like when Arnold and fucking Sylvester Stallone and Bruce Willis bought Planet Hollywood.
Opened Planet Hollywood.
That was a fucking moment, and I want that moment back in this city. Rogan left, Tom left, everyone left Hollywood. And I go, fuck that. I want to make Hollywood fun as fuck again. My movie, The Machine, is exclusively in theaters this weekend. On the 25th, we're doing a limited live stream that's coming from the red carpet. So you can go to themachine.movie and see if there's a theater near you hosting that live stream. It'll air 30 minutes before the movie starts. But other than that, on the 26th, 27th, and 28th, we are out there. So go to the movies. Get out of your house. Put your phone in your pocket. Put it on silent. Get popcorn. Get peanut M&Ms. Sprinkle it into the popcorn. 2 hot dogs. Shove them in your pockets. Extra salt on the popcorn. Get a large Diet Coke or a cold beer. I think they're serving cold beers these days. Oh, go to the movies, enjoy a cold beer, and watch my movie, The Machine. You go to themachine.movie to get your tickets. I'll see you at the movies.
Let me tell you my fucking Hollywood thing. So me and the wife, you remember it was raining like 2 months ago or 1 month ago, and it was like this place turned into Seattle. And it went on for so fucking long that I was like, I can't take this shit anymore. Everything's changed. I said, we don't even fuck with this city on a regular basis. We hide in our house. I was like, there's got to be someplace else we can move. And so my wife, Jen, was like, what, like New Jersey? I was like, I ain't saying it's got to be Jersey. Let's look at the map and find a place where we can fucking live. We've done 22 years in Los Angeles. Let's look for some other place. And my wife's like, well, I like it here because I like nature. And I'm like, nobody fucking associates Los Angeles with fucking nature.
I love that.
But we live in that area of the hills where it is. Everywhere you look, you can't see fucking anything except nature, what they call a hill. I
That's
call a
the
mountain.
most beautiful part of, that's my favorite part of Hollywood.
It's fucking gorgeous. So we looked at the entire fucking map, every state, and eventually we were like, I guess Los Angeles is it. Like, there's no place else that I want to live. And so when you said Joe left, and then you're right, Tom, I was on Tom's show also in Austin.
Yeah.
Why do people keep fucking leaving?
Well, because
it's cheaper where they're going.
Number one, Joe has no interest in Hollywood. Like
Right.
Hollywood doesn't.
But neither do I. But I love the concept of it. Like if I could go back and tell 9-year-old me who my parents took us to Grauman's Chinese Theater so I could see the Star Wars footprints when I was 9 years old. And that was a big deal because we were poor fucking family and shit. If I could go back in time and tell that kid, not only do you one day live in Hollywood, like 2 blocks up from Grauman's Chinese Theater, but you and Jason put your handprints and footprints in the cement as well. That kid, it would explode his fucking mind, and he'd probably fuck it all up trying to get to that point. Like quite like you, a lot of things happen fucking accidentally to me and shit. I have a hard time thinking about going, even when everyone's like, "Oh, it's too expensive" and shit like that. You got to pay to play. Like it's a great place to fucking live, man. So I'm happy to hear you like wanting to stay and wanting to do a thing here. Like when you mentioned Planet Hollywood, there should be a podcaster fucking same idea.
Yeah.
Like what those 3 guys did for movies back in the fucking 80s with Planet Hollywood for fucking podcasting. And you're the guy who's fucking rich enough and smart enough, and you know Tom Segura, and he helps to make that fucking happen.
It's just for me, I like if I listen to what's the guy that hates short people?
Randy Newman?
If I listen to Randy Newman's we're talking now. Now we're talking.
We are. This is deep cuts. Go.
If I listen
for the record,
to
kids, he doesn't really hate short people. He just sang a very successful novelty song about it. He's also the guy who composed the score for Toy Story.
If you don't know the song, you just are like, what the fuck did he do to short people?
This is a dude who sang many years ago, "Short people got no reason to live."
They got tiny
but he
little
also
hands
wrote, "You got a friend in me."
If I listen,
which short people listen to, and they're like, "No, we don't." And oddly enough, "You Got a Friend in Me" is a song about short toys. So this dude went full circle in his fucking life. But anyway, back to Randy Newman.
If I listen to "I Love L.A.,"
yes,
I start tearing up.
Oh my god,
I
want to fucking hug you so bad.
I
love that song as well. As a young Jersey kid, I remember seeing one of the earliest music videos before MTV. They had a show on HBO, I think, called Video Jukebox. And they showed the video for that of him driving fucking around Los Angeles and shouting out names. We love it. We love it.
And they're driving through, and you see like beautiful chicks with teased out hair and fluorescent bikinis. We love it. Yes. Today is specifically aggressive. I met up with Arnold at Gold's Gym in Venice Beach. I spent the night at Shutters with my wife.
Nice.
We had dinner at Shutters. We got drunk. We had a great evening. Woke up, and Arnold Schwarzenegger was saying to me, so you're the next action star. So this is where they're going. I love it. And it was really cool.
The fact that he said, I love it twice. You're
Yeah,
like, we love it.
Yeah, we love it. and then we go to breakfast at Shutters. And I,
again,
I'm
Shutters is an amazing fucking
I'm not
hotel,
saying
folks.
that Austin doesn't have this, but fucking Ed Norton walks by us. And I did the worst. I am so bad. Like, I think celebrity's cool.
Right.
I think it's cool
I agree.
that a guy, first of all, his movie with Richard Gere is one of the fucking greatest movies I've ever fucking seen.
Primal Fear?
That thing.
What would be your title for that movie?
The guy who does 2 accents.
Brilliant.
The guy who does 2
Fucking
accents
brilliant.
is...
Spoilers, but
Yeah,
yes.
Spoilers!
If you haven't seen Primal Fear, give it a watch. Because when it comes to the second accent, your mind will be fucking blown.
It's such a great
I've
fucking
watched
movie.
it so many times, and even knowing the story, I could get lost in his but. And then when it fucking switches, you're like, this guy's a brilliant actor. Yeah.
Fight Club.
Yes!
I mean, fucking, I just saw
Did you say something to him?
You ready?
Yes.
He walks by.
You were like, you were great in the guy that does 2 accents.
Nope. I went, Ed Norton.
Nice.
And
I bet you appreciated that.
he was like, mm-hmm. And he walked by me. And my wife was like, did you
like
just...
the priest character in the movie he made with fucking Ben Stiller. Like,
Yeah. My wife's like, did you just go baby walrus on him? Just, And so, but I think that's so cool when...
I like seeing famous people too.
I love seeing famous people.
Yeah.
I remember the first...
In the wild, especially unplanned and shit.
I remember when I met Tom Cruise. I not met him, but I saw Tom Cruise. We were at the premiere for Magnolia when his hair is just perfect, right?
How were you at the premiere for Magnolia?
I was just moved out here. I was hanging out with my assistant, my agent's assistant, and she said,
That's 1999.
We have tickets for the premiere of Magnolia if you want to go with us. And I said, fuck yeah. I didn't know anything about the director.
Paul Thomas Anderson. What would you call Magnolia if you didn't know the name?
The guy that grabs him by the pussy.
Oh. Wow, that's a long walk.
Yeah.
But fairly accurate as well.
I don't remember.
That would be like the singing movie where the frogs fall out of the sky.
The movie that says one's the loneliest number.
Yes.
That's the fucking greatest soundtrack. I bought that soundtrack immediately. But like, so I'm telling a story. Tom Cruise is behind me, but I don't know he's behind me. And I turn around and I bump into him, and he still has the exact
long
same hair.
hair.
And all I look at him, I go, "You have beautiful hair." And he went, "Thank you," and just walked away. I was like, "Fuck!"
Had you seen the movie yet or no?
I'd seen it. We just seen it, and it was
so
awesome.
you didn't think to be like, respect the cock, tame the pussy.
No, you should have.
Your compliment meant more.
I'm not good at like meeting a celebrity. I always fuck it up.
Let me tell you something. You met one today, and you're very good at it. I don't consider myself a celebrity for that.
But I look at like I want this. I like the fucking Jack Nicholson sitting on the fucking
floor of the Lakers.
Lakers, that energy.
Which lately has happened like twice. He's been in the news for it. Like he was gone for a long time, and now all of a sudden they're like, hey, he's going back to games. Is that what it was?
Yeah, he started a podcast with Rogan. He would be a great podcast guest.
Him?
Yeah.
Fuck. You want to talk about stories and shit. And also he's just entertaining. If you ever watch him, like remember back in the day when he would be at the Oscars and like, you know, doing a presenting or something like that. You tell he didn't do the script, and you could tell he was enjoying the fuck out of it. He's a guy that always seemed like he enjoyed being in Hollywood, being in the business. Not just being a great actor, but also all the accoutrements that went along with it.
Here's my plan. This is
now,
my,
if you had told me,
thing.
you know who plays my dad in this movie? Jack Nicholson. Then I would have been like, where's the 5th floor? And I'm jumping out.
That would have been.
But jumping out, not to kill myself, jumping out because I was so happy for you and not jealous at all.
Oh, thank you.
There's a goal to reach for. Like he don't act no more. No. So imagine being the guy that pulls him out of retirement, even for one scene. You could do that with the next movie.
Pete Davidson,
Astronauts.
Fat Astronauts, we can get them. I bet we could.
Yes.
My goal is to have the machine.
I bet we could.
This is my goal. The machine, I want them. They said to me in an interview, you'll find this comical. I didn't know anything about movies and how much movies make. And they're like, what's your goal for opening weekend? I said 152 million. And they were like, awesome. They were like, oh, cool, bigger than Maverick. And I was like, oh, is that how big that was?
I mean, to put it in perspective, Guardians of the Galaxy opened to what, 118 million? That's like a Marvel movie.
And so I'm looking to
152. Beat it. Why not?
We've
seen Marvel movies before. You know what we haven't seen? The Machine.
Yeah. And so then that'll immediately greenlight Fat Astronauts. And
Fat Astronauts is getting greenlit regardless.
I just read the latest script. It's pretty fucking awesome. And then I'm gonna sign up. I've already told Legendary. I've already told them. I've given them 2 offers. We can wait until after the movie premieres, or we can do it before. If we do it before, I'll sign very small deals. But I want to do the Machine 2, 3, and 4. I want them to sign up to do 4 more machines. That's my Rambo.
Beautiful.
And then
you're talking to a guy who made 3 Clerkses.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And 2 Jay and Silent Bobs with 1 more 10 years from now. So I'm all for the franchise.
And so that's my goal. And then I want to be, and then I just want to like really phone it in as an actor and be that Hollywood guy who like does big things.
May I make a suggestion?
Yeah, please.
The Machine 2, the Machiner. The Machine 3, the Machinist.
I love it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then do 1 more just because fuck you, it's that successful. That your trilogy is 4 films.
I miss that fucking big moment. Those like fucking like Bruce Willis driving a motorcycle down a red carpet with a fucking cigarette and then playing the harmonica to everyone
doing
like
Bruno, his Bruno shit.
Yeah. Like those.
I was a huge Bruno fan. Like I had both of those albums.
Dude,
I worked with him on Cop Out. That's a whole other story.
Yeah, I think I've heard that. Yeah.
But still, one of the reasons I worked with him because I was a massive fan of Moonlighting, of Die Hard, his entire career, but mostly his Bruno shit.
I was a fan of him as a bartender at the fucking
He never served you.
No. Just the idea.
Yes, the
that
idea.
Like that you'd be in New York and older dudes with thinning hair who just had crested over like 50 were like, Brucey used to be the bartender here. And you're like, Brucey? And like, Brucey's the best, man. He's doing big things. Good. Cheer on for Brucey. Like,
Big
I
things.
love that
That's cool.
fucking, like, I just thought that was cool.
Yeah.
You know, like, I wonder if you could pick, not the one you were in.
Yeah.
But if you had to go back to any portion of Hollywood, like the beginning when they're making it, when all this doesn't exist and it's just downtown in the beach.
So in the 20s, like where Babylon was set, that movie that came out?
I just watched that movie.
It's a long movie.
I watched it on silent on a plane, and I still think I got it.
So somebody tell Damien Chazelle that. That'll make him so happy. He took a beating from like people on the movie didn't do well, and a lot of people were like, "Why the fuck did you do this?" So I would imagine if he heard from the likes of you that not only did you watch it with the sound down, but you feel like you got it.
I loved
That'd
it.
be a huge triumph for the guy that made Whiplash.
He
Whiplash
could use
is a
it. Good fucking
it's a
movie.
fucking amazing
Whiplash
movie.
is a really good fucking movie.
If any era whatsoever.
You mean the movie about the Nazi who was a drummer?
Yes. Is that what you call it?
Do you know why I call it that?
Yeah, because he was in fucking
Oz.
That's it. That's a brilliant title. If I could go to any era and live in any era, it would probably be the 80s. I mean, I was born in 1970, so I grew up on 70s movies, but 80s movies was like, that was my happy childhood. And that whole era, you know, those were the people that were larger than life to me. There were a bunch of famous people like fucking Cary Grant, Humphrey Bogart and shit, like obviously from years back. But when I think of movie stars, I think of all the people that got big in the 80s when movie stars were like larger than fucking life and opening restaurants and shit like that.
Who do you think is like top 5 movie stars of all time? Like when history in 100 years, I was saying that they'll never forget Brad Pitt, and they go, Brad Pitt, he's on the edge, and I went, I don't think so.
On the edge of what? Being forgotten?
In 100 years, like when we look back 100 years, you go Buster Keaton.
Yeah.
By the way, he fucking went out and raped the chick.
Is that right?
Oh, that's Fatty Arbuckle. My bad.
Oh my God, man! He's fucking taking Buster Keaton down a peg somewhere in heaven or hell. Buster Keaton's like, no, I didn't. I was a comedic genius. You know, the Chaplins of the world, or there was only one Chaplin. Humphrey
How
Bogart.
good would they have been as twins, though?
Right, there was his fucking twin that he kept someplace else. Humphrey Bogart was fucking massive. You're talking about a guy who was in, you know, fucking what? I can't believe I just blanked. Maltese Falcon, fucking Casablanca, fucking movies that nobody talks about anymore, but invented movies more or less. The guy from frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn. Clark Gable, put that up on the board.
Gable.
And that's and that's before I was even fucking born. So
that in that list,
think about this shit. Robert Redford, Paul Newman, they were fucking huge in the 70s, both of those guys.
Oh my God.
Massive.
I mean, I'm wearing his watch.
You wearing a Paul Newman watch?
I think. Who's fucking
His own watch or a brand of watches?
Hang on. Who raced cars?
Paul Newman.
Paul Newman. Wait, is it fucking Paul Newman?
Or no, you're thinking of
damn
Steve McQueen, another fucking legend.
Steve McQueen was a legend.
Yep.
Steve McQueen was a legend. The fucking
You got to count the guy that you went to Gold's Gym with, Arnold.
I said in the car to Leanne, I said, is he the biggest action star we've ever had?
Got to be.
He has to be.
I mean, I know a lot of people always want to put him in there with like Sylvester Stallone, but and Sylvester Stallone certainly did action movies, but Arnold did exclusively action movies, with the exception of a comedy here or there.
Twins.
He was never like, I want to do a think piece. You know, I want to do a piece that shows my vulnerable side. The dude was in movies.
Do you know what he said to me today, which I thought was groundbreaking? Well, it blew my mind. Is I said, when you did those movies, did they plan that? Because you were kind of like, he was like the predecessor of say the line and then that's the catchphrase for the movie.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, they were all accidents. I said, what do you mean? And he goes,
that tracks.
He goes, I wanted to say I will be back. And James Cameron was like, no, it's I'll be back. And he goes, yeah, but I would say I will be back. And he goes, hey, man, I write the movies, you act in them. Just say I'll be back.
He was like, I don't do contractions.
Yeah, and he was like, okay. And then he goes, I'll be back. And so he goes, the movie comes out, and I'm walking in New York. Someone's like, Arnold, say the line. He goes, what line? And he goes, I'll be back. And he goes, from what? And he's like, I'll be back. And he goes, oh, well, I'll be back. And he goes, no, say it like you did in the movie. And he goes,
had no awareness.
I'll be back. And they go, yeah. But like, I thought that was fucking crazy that you wouldn't pick your catchphrase. And then he goes, and then he got to the point where he was like, and then we were like, he was like, and then it was like catchphrase, like I put the knife in the scale and he goes, stick around.
Yes. Oh, then it became like
then it became a thing.
Yeah.
But do you think?
So really, we got to give credit to Jim Cameron. Because
Jim
Arnold
Cameron.
would have meant like, I will be back, and nobody would have remembered that.
Do you know that Oliver Stone wrote Conan the Barbarian?
Yeah. God, yeah, I know that. Isn't that amazing?
It's fucking I met Oliver Stone.
Conan, what is best in life?
What's the answer?
You don't know?
No.
It is
The sword or the pussy?
To what is it? It's to crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of the women. That's that line from Conan.
I just saw that, but I watched it on silent too.
Please don't watch my movies on silent because you'll turn them off. They're all dialogue oriented.
I watch them in silent out of respect for your character.
Nice. Class. Excellent pull. That's fast right there.
What was I just going to say? Fuck. No, I forgot. I'm so bad. I think I'm getting early onset.
I'll segue into something else. Just because I got to promote something. I heard you did a cruise.
Oh, you and Jay are doing a cruise.
We're doing Jay and Silent Bob's
2024 out of Miami.
There you go.
How many days? 4 days?
Miami, 3 days. Miami to Bahamas and then back. And we're at like 70% sold right now. And we have like 10 months to get there. But you did a cruise.
No, I haven't done it yet.
Are you in the process of doing it?
Yeah, we did it. We're doing it in October.
So you've sold it already?
Sold
out. And it's you guys, you got the whole boat.
Got the whole boat.
Are you nervous?
No.
You're just like, this is exciting.
Oh, this is like a dream of mine.
Yeah. I love the idea of being trapped in one place with all these people. The only thing that I don't
I love it.
is that like you got 3,000 people on the boat, but there's no 3,000 seat theater. So basically sometimes you're competing against yourself or people you've brought on the boat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm so excited. You have no idea. I did the Impractical Jokers cruise. So I used to, my buddy Cowhead out of Tampa.
I know Quentin, man.
Yeah.
Oh, who?
Cowhead?
Yeah.
Mike Calta, he's out of
Yeah,
Tampa.
I fucking love that. I'm not just saying that,
Yeah.
but like one of my favorite fucking broadcasters.
He's the best.
Mike Carlton. Him and his crew came to reboot, but he bowed out at the last minute, but his guys were there.
Yeah.
But one day I went in and did his show and like fucking just hung out all day.
He's an amazing
He's absolutely
interviewer.
wonderful.
He really is. I've known him for 20 years. I met him at the Improv the weekend he got married. Him and his wife, like before they went on their honeymoon, went to the Improv.
It's a small fucking world. It's so weird that you say.
He's one of my best friends. He'll be at the premiere. He's coming out to the premiere.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I'll
Are you coming to the
see him.
premiere?
No,
Okay.
until you invite me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Put that
Please,
on the board.
please. Yeah,
When
put it on
is
the
it?
board. The 24th, 25th, 24th, 25th.
I'll be here for the
25th.
25th. 26th, I'm going to be back in Jersey we show Jaws and then at my theater, and then we show Red State, the movie I made on the 27th. The 28th, I'm showing what I call Jersey Girl, the Snyder cut. It's the longest cut of Jersey Girl with all the Jennifer Lopez in it that we had to cut out and shit like that. But I'll be here on the 25th, so I'll totally go, where's the premiere?
Did you know? Were you shocked when they got back together?
Not at all.
Really?
I've never met two people more in love than those two, and the fact that they even fell apart over the course of 20 years to me was confounding. When they came back together, I was like, that makes absolute sense. And I was at the wedding, And so afterwards, the next day, you know, they had like kind of the after reception and shit like that. And, you know, at the wedding, I saw them from afar, but I wasn't like, and shit like that. The next day, first person I saw when we went to the like breakfast thing was Jennifer. And Jennifer grabbed me and she was just like, do you remember when we broke up and like I came to your house and you were talking about Ben and you were like, you can totally count on this guy. She's like, he is a white knight, man. He will be back for you. And she's going like, when we got back together, we started like referencing that. And I was like, you remembered some bullshit I said 20 years ago? And she was like, it meant the world to me. I always thought they would wind up back together.
Yeah.
Like we made Jersey Girl. You couldn't find two people more fucking in love. Yeah. And so the fact that they got back together and like, it just makes absolute sense. It's a very romantic story, but like they were kind of meant for each other.
I wish
she keeps him honest.
Him and Matt, I signed up for, meaning like, you know, there's certain people that I think as a kid or a young adult, you sign up for and you go, all right, that's my guy.
Yeah.
He's my movie star. Tom Cruise, he's my movie star. Right. Brad Pitt, he's my movie star. I remember not Legend of the Fall, River Runs Through It. I saw it on a date and I went, that's my guy. Like, I love that guy.
The fly fishing movie is what did it for you?
That fucking movie. I love that he gambled and he dated a Native American. And like, he reminded me of my best friend who was the little brother who was a little wild. Oddly enough, my best friend ended up killing himself. So it was a very similar, tragic. Yeah. But just different, just went to his beat. And I was like, that's like, signed up for him. Matt and Ben.
Yeah.
I saw Ben Affleck in a movie where he took steroids.
You just refused to call him
show.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah, I know.
Ben Affleck.
He took TV shows where he did steroids.
It was this TV movie they did. It was an after-school special.
And Matt Damon in
Courage Under Fire.
Jew Gets Bullied.
School Ties.
Yeah, School Ties. And so,
can I just be your translator in life?
Please. And so,
you should run a game show where you give out alternate titles, and then people are like have to buzz in and be like, "That's School Ties."
School Ties. And when the whole story, the whole thing, I was living in a house next door to where they wrote that movie, I guess,
yeah.
Up on Glencoe.
Yeah.
And that movie came out and I went, okay. I literally
Are you talking about Good Will Hunting?
The autistic guy who is a janitor. Yeah.
He wasn't autistic. He was just
autistic,
really smart.
right?
No
I
way.
think I don't think the only way you're smart is if you're autistic.
No.
I don't think they have
artistic,
regular
if anything.
Oh yeah, okay.
Do you know I like helped that movie get made, right?
Yeah.
My name's in the credits and shit like that because I brought that into Miramax.
Yeah.
Because they could not. They'd sold it to Castle Rock, and then Castle Rock wanted them to use one of the partners in Castle Rock, Andy Scheinman, I think his name was, as the director. And the boys, like, he had directed, I think, Little Big League or something like that. But the boys were like, eh. And so they didn't get it made for a long time. And then finally, Castle Rock was like, look, we'll give you 2 months to try to take this out and sell it, because they sold it as a spec script. Now, like, if you could set it up someplace, great, we get paid back. But if not, it comes back here, and we're putting Leo and fucking Toby in it. Because the boys had made part of their deal that they would be in the fucking flick.
Yeah.
And so Ben Affleck, or Ben Affleck as we call him, we had done Mallrats and shit like that. And he was like, hey, man, I wrote this flick with Matt.
Was this
and I
before or
knew
after Chasing Amy?
Before Chasing Amy.
Yeah.
So the weekend, when Ben came in to audition for Mallrats, I had read the Hollywood Reporter or Variety piece about them selling the script. So my first conversation with Ben was like, oh shit, what are you doing in here, man? You just sold the script for like $800,000. He's like, how the fuck did you know that? I was like, well, it's in the trades. And he's like, you read the trades? I was like, yeah, of course. I mean, you do. I mean, why would I not read the trades? But I blew him up because I was like, that's fucking huge. Why are you auditioning for the likes of Mallrats and shit? I fell in love with him on Mallrats because he is such a fucking one of the funniest people I ever met in my life. I'm so and glad. Me, Tom Segura, Joe Rogan are lucky that Affleck never turned his eye to stand up, because we would all be fucking legit one of the funniest people I've ever met in my fucking life.
I'm so glad to hear that. That's guy's like one of my like heroes. Not hero, that's a wrong thing, but like one of my guys on the mountain where I go, I fucking love him. I root for him when he falls off the wagon. I kind of wish I was there that first night anytime he falls off the wagon.
So you can have fun with him.
Just the first night. Not when it gets bad, but that first night where he's like, oh, I forgot why I like this. And you're like, yeah.
You don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah, I know. There's a couple people I like to fall off the wagon with, but
he's absolutely wonderful. One of my favorite people in the world. And I've made 9 movies with the guy over the course of his career.
It makes me so fucking happy to hear that.
There's a guy who when you make The Machine 2, he plays your dad.
I think I'm older than him.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. That's how good of an actor he is.
Really?
People will believe that he's your father in that movie. Honestly, I think he's, at one point in his career, he went movie star, right? Where he was like doing movies and Matt was doing like the acting, picking directors carefully and shit. Ben is?
He's my Batman.
I love him as Batman, but Michael Keaton's my Batman. I'm a child of the 70s and the 80s. So
Michael Keaton was my Batman, but like the darkness of Batman, Ben's got
and
that.
Ben also has which you got to give Zack Snyder tons of credit for. One of the best cinematic Batman sequences ever made is in Batman v Superman when he busts into the warehouse and fucking takes out 20 people.
Yeah.
He like fucking shoots the thing into the crate and fucking smashes a dude's face with it, knifes a dude in the fucking shoulder and doesn't say stick around, just call back.
Yeah, those guys were like,
it makes me happy to hear you say. A lot of people be like jealous of those dudes and be like, fuck those guys.
Oh no, I see.
Nice
okay,
that you signed on and
I do something different in life than because it's very easy to say fuck that guy or fuck this guy. I try to celebrate I try to find shit I like,
right,
and then I root for it, and then I get excited as it succeeds. I didn't do that until later in life. A fan explained it to me, and he was like, I'm a fan of yours. I don't know if you know what that means. And I was like, oh, yeah, you come to my shows. And he was like, no. He's like shirtless, drunk. We're in West Palm at a meet and greet line after my show on New Year's Eve, and he's like, smaller dude. He's like, I work construction. I'm not athletic. I'm not into sports. I'm not going to get married. I don't have a chick. I get prostitutes. Like, wait, he probably didn't say that, but like, he's like, but that's why I draw. And he goes, I picked you. He was like, I'm a fan of yours. And so when good shit happens to you, it feels like good shit happens to me. He goes, I don't have a lot going on in life, but when you succeed, I feel like I succeeded because I picked you.
I haven't met that guy, but I've met that guy who say that thing to you where you're just like, you're their avatar. They're playing you in life.
Yeah.
And like the compliment that I've always loved so much from the beginning of my career to even to now is when they go, you're doing it the way I would have done it if I was ever in your shoes. Keep doing that and shit. That's people who are, to borrow a very trite phrase, ride or die. They make you their guy. That means a lot. That's the only way I still exist in this fucking business. Not because I've had enormous success. I never have. But I've had a very loyal audience that's been with me like, hey man, I went to see fucking Clerks with a girl like when it came out, and we've been married 30 years and we got 4 kids. You're the fucking reason. Shit like that. It's like you become a part of their lives. And
dude, when
that compliment means
I went
everything.
opening weekend when you did the movie Ben and Matt Have Wings.
Dogma.
But like so.
That should be the title of your next book. Ben and Matt Have Wings.
Yeah.
Why I love celebrities.
But because but like you've been,
which can be a completely different movie where Ben and Matt go to a bar, just eat a bunch of hot wings and talk. It's like my modern day My Dinner with Andre. Thank you.
But like I like liking shit. I like liking shit.
Celebrate shit.
I like.
Don't be the guy that's ever like, let me tell you what I hate, because life's too fucking short and there's no shortage of motherfuckers out there, especially online, to tell you what they don't like. Be the one that champions things. Be the fan of things.
I like to be like right now I'm trying to get into a band. Like cuz I hadn't like
oh, like not into a band, like I want to be the lead
no,
guitarist,
no.
but like enjoy the I was like, because I believe you will be able to do that, Bert. You've accomplished so much that you can really just manifest yourself into like, I don't know, Red Hot Chili Peppers or something like that.
I just DM'd them yesterday.
Did you?
I was trying to get them to come to the premiere, and then they
Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Yeah, because I was like, because I'm a fan.
Why don't you offer to be their guy that like in the Mighty Mighty Bosstones just dances behind them?
Oh, yeah. Oh, with a sock on my cock?
Yes.
I look good with a sock on my cock. You can pull it up. You
can pull it up. Put that on the board.
Put in Bert sock on his cock. I bet it comes up. No, I like liking shit. There's a band called Goose. Have you ever heard of them?
No, I don't know.
And they're playing After Me the Night on Red Rocks.
Okay.
So I do Red Rocks, and then there I am with a sock on my cock.
My God,
you know how hard it is? Do you know how hard it is to keep a sock on your cock?
Rubber band or no?
Top stick.
Is that what it is?
I had to top stick all my cock and balls.
So just like when
what toupee tape.
Is that what it is? Because I know it from movies. That's how they'll
mic you
like
sometimes.
Somebody who has a bunch of cleavage. That's how they keep the cleavage from popping out. Is top stick.
Really?
Yeah. There's a little movie inside for you right
By
there.
the
Put
way,
that in the work on fucking Fat Astronauts.
Only thing I'm really regret about The Machine. I'm really happy with how it came out. I loved it.
Not enough
At the
nudity?
first, there's no nudity.
Good.
I fucked up.
Good. That's not fucked up. That's good because when you succeed, nobody will ever be like, wow, you had nudity in the movie.
Oh,
you
for
did
real?
it yourself. Yeah. You earned it without the nudity. Now, Fat Astronauts, nothing but nudity.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of nudity. A lot of nudity. And Tom's
Certainly
Tom's like
sock in
right
the
in
cup.
kissing scenes. I'm ready to hook up with other chicks.
Is that right? he's figured out the secret, the backdoor
He's
secret.
like, I want a sex scene. I want a kissing scene. We're going full Buffalo 66, baby. Isn't it crazy that I remember that name of that movie?
Yeah, that didn't
As
get like
opposed to,
the movie where
Chloe blew that
Chloe's.
dude.
I was just, what is the dude's name?
Hold on. So wait, hang on. Don't no one say it. So there's a song by a band called Wet Leg. Have you
Yes.
heard it?
No.
Okay, hold on. It's a great song. It's called Wet Dream.
Okay.
And in it, she says, I was in your wet dream, driving in my car. Come back to my room, I got Buffalo 66 on DVD. You said, baby, do you want to come home with me? I got Buffalo 66
Oh, I do. I think I
on
do
DVD.
know this song. I think my
Beam
kid
me
played
up.
this song.
Count
for
me. I'm sure they do. So I said,
How weird.
I said,
think
what is that guy's name?
I saw that lyric.
What is that guy's name? Hold on, hang on. And I couldn't remember it. Now I could Google it right now.
Right.
But I said, hold on. This is how I'm going to find out if I am starting dementia. I'm
Fair
going
enough.
to see if I can figure this out. And I sat for a month because I listen to the song a lot and I go, what is his fucking name? It seems like his first name would have like 5 letters.
I know it.
Hang on. I know it. Hang on. It seems like his first
4
name
syllables.
would have a vowel, a consonant, a vowel, 2 consonants, and a vowel.
Too long.
And then I'm on the plane
Yeah.
to
And he
fly to
was there.
Australia. And my brain goes, Vincent
Gallo.
Well, I figured out his name. I went Vincent Gallo,
And
I
at
got
that
so
point, you're
excited.
like, I'm going to live forever.
I'm gonna live forever. I'm never
Your
gonna
brain
die.
is that good.
Vincent Gallo. He's a New York dude.
Yeah.
Like that look is a New York East Village dude.
Yeah. But the cautionary tale from Vince Gallo's story is don't get a real blowjob in a movie.
Yeah, that was the creepy part is that he really made her suck his dick. Or not made her, but he was like, I think
that it happened at all.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, that's crazy. I think that's called
Now,
a
there
porn.
have been movies where people fucking have sex during the movie, apparently.
Like, you mean off screen?
No, like
On
in the
screen?
movie. Like the rumor was Angel Heart. Remember that movie?
Fucking Lisa
Mickey Rourke
Bonet and
Lisa
Mickey Rourke.
Bonet, yeah. And the rumor was always that they actually had sex. I don't know how true that is, but like in Jersey, we heard that rumor. And
Mickey
when I got into the
Rourke.
business, I still heard that rumor.
I'll tell you a Hollywood moment.
Yeah.
I was driving through Beverly Hills and I see Mickey Rourke walking out of a liquor store with leather pants on, a see-through, like a mesh tank top, and a case of Heineken, putting into the back of a Cadillac DTS.
That's a lot of detail, right?
And
there.
I wonder if that is a,
Are you a
I wonder
car
if that's
guy?
a picture I saw in as opposed to some, because that's a lot of detail.
Could be a
That is
photo as
fucking lot of
opposed to an
detail.
actual memory. Yeah.
I
You
thought
manufactured that memory.
I might have fucking seen it in a fucking magazine. Wait, see if you can find that.
Say it all. Say it all so they can Google it.
Mickey Rourke, Heineken, Cadillac DTS, leather pants,
And mesh shirt.
mesh tank top.
Are you a car guy?
Nah.
Because that knowing what car it was is
So-
a detail beyond a bridge too far.
Well, I'll tell you why. I know. I think I saw it. I think I actually saw it.
So that happened.
I think it
in real life.
happened. I
It
went
wasn't a fever dream. It was real.
when I met Leanne. I went to go buy a car, and I had back in the day on Wilshire there was a Chevy dealership and a Cadillac dealership across the street. And I was looking at. I wanted a Yukon Denali, and then they walked me across the street to look at the Escalade, and then in looking at the Escalade, the one guy goes, "Can I tell you what Adam Sandler drives?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Why don't you hop in the DTS?" And I hopped in a DTS.
Okay.
He goes, "I just sold one to Kiefer Sutherland and Adam Sandler." And immediately I'm like, I'm fucking buying this car. I'm fucking buying this car.
For that reason
Yeah,
alone.
yeah,
Which
yeah.
one was Adam or Kiefer that pushed you over the edge?
Adam. It was Adam because I've always longed to be a grown man, like to sit in a sedan and be like a grown up and listen to Steely Dan or the Dead and be like, Yeah, man. Maybe even smoke a cigar in my own car or a joint and just be that guy.
You have achievable dreams, Bert.
I do.
That's smart. That's smart.
And
a lot of people shoot the moon, and you're like, I just want to be a guy in a sedan smoking a cigar, listening to Steely Dan.
And so
you can make that dream happen like now.
I can do it tonight.
Yes,
I got my car down there. I bought the big Mercedes, and I got a chocolate interior because I'm a grown up now. Like I'm a real grown up. But I almost bought that car. My wife was with me, and the guy was like, I think I want this car. She was like, hey, you're not a grown up yet. Like, get the cool truck. Like, get the truck.
Right.
And so I went back and got the truck. But that DTS was like, it was a Hollywood second. When like 20 years ago, that DTS was like a cool, I've made it. It almost felt like the Cadillac gave everyone one of those.
And it's like a 2-door or 4-door sedan?
Oh, it was a 4-door sedan. Type in Cadillac DTS 2000.
I'm so not a car guy.
I'm not a car guy either.
God, you're just like fucking, like Rogan has a guy that pulls shit up all the time.
Look at that car. It's a slick fucking car.
That's the car?
Yeah, it was a slick fucking car.
It's like a mom car.
It's a mom car, but it was fast as fuck. And it was it was a real sedan.
Wow.
And they stopped making them. They started making smaller bodied cars, but like Adam Sandler and Kiefer Sutherland had one.
And that was it for you.
I just was like,
that's credibility,
well,
right?
you know
car
me.
credibility.
Yeah.
I've been an SUV guy for many years. When Clerks got sold, it wasn't one of those like Sundance movies where they paid me $10 million. I made it for $27,575. They paid me $227,000 for the movie. $100,000 of it went to blowing it up to 35 millimeter specs because we shot on 16, and then the rest of it I got to keep. However, the rest of it went to paying off the $27,575, but that also included interest on the credit cards because it was all credit cards.
All credit cards.
Then I paid the cast and people that worked on it. Paid my mom and dad back for a loan. Everyone worked for free. Paid back Scott Mosier's dad. He lent us money to make a print. And he was real legit. He made us sign a contract with fucking like interest and shit. He wanted us to learn a thing. And then with the money I had left over, I bought my very first brand new car because I'd always had hand-me-down cars and beaters and shit. Buy? I bought a Dodge Neon. Because it was like, don't fucking laugh. I'm no Adam Sandler or Kiefer Sutherland. So I drove that proudly for about 6 months until one day Scott Mosier was like, you realize this car is made primarily of plastic and rubber. And I was like, isn't that what most cars are made of? He goes, if we get in an accident, we're dying. So Mosier bought a Ford Explorer.
Ooh.
And when he got that, he was like, now if we get in an accident in this car, we're probably going to walk away.
Yeah.
And that's
what I've always thought that.
That changed my thinking about it. Suddenly I was like, don't buy the cheapest car, the one that's going to embarrass you in public.
Yeah.
Buy the car. And that did not have chocolate interior. It had cloth seats.
What was the car across the street from your house?
I drive for the last 10 years. There was a Lincoln Navigator.
No. There back in the day, like probably 15 years, 20 years ago, maybe there was a car parked across the street with a cover over it. Right?
Not mine.
I've
never covered my cars. That seems a little bougie to me.
No, I know it was like an old car. I thought it was an old car.
I'm so not a car guy. So that was not me. But I do have vague memories of a car with a cover in our neighborhood, but that was definitely not me. Let's go back to my house that you're going to buy because that would make my life so much easier.
I fucking buy in a heartbeat. I want that fucking house ever since I moved to Hollywood.
Done and done, dude.
Oh my God.
It provided, when we bought it from Affleck, it was like the party house. And like when we came into the house.
It was the party house.
It was the party house.
It was the party house.
2001 July, we were shooting Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and he was between The Sum of All Fears and some other fucking movie, and he had like a day to give us.
That's not it. You're not going to be able to Google it. It's not that. You're not going to.
I'll tell you what it is. Yeah, don't go Ben's current house because that's a fucking massive mansion. L.A. Presa, but yeah. Oh shit, there's my house right there.
Yeah,
it's got great fucking windows.
It's a fucking badass fucking house.
It's a really wonderful house. It was a party house for him.
God
when
damn it. You realize the fuck up we made? We should have made that our podcast studio. Do you know how fucking
it's
badass?
Never too late.
Oh my God.
It's never too late.
You know what's so funny is my wife has a dream of becoming a real estate mogul.
Oh shit.
Yeah, my wife grew up really poor. In the houses where they drive the house to you and then you kind of add on as you make money.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, she was like, went to grade school barefoot. She was like really poor.
Was she Floridian as well?
No. Georgia, in the foothills of Appalachia.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And
That is barefoot country.
It is. Like, they don't get mad if you call them a redneck. That's a compliment. If you call them a hillbilly, they go
That's
like,
what
wow,
they're like,
I ain't no hillbilly.
Flip a table
Yeah.
and shit.
But that she wants to be a mogul, and I'm gonna soft sell it.
Buy that
We're gonna
house
soft
for
sell
your
it. When we
wife.
go downstairs, I'm gonna be like,
It'll make my life so much easier.
so
Look at that
beautiful.
place. Look
it's
at how
so fucking beautiful.
when we went into it. Oh, that ain't part of it because I don't remember this at all. That section right there. But that's definitely it. That's the sky view. It's got a pool on the roof.
Yeah. It's so fucking badass.
We went to visit that house when we were making
there.
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Ben was like, "Come to my house." And so I went to this place. It looks like a fucking French hotel. And I was like, "What part do you live in?" He's like, "This is all mine." I was like, "Get the fuck out of here." So he tours me and my wife throughout the house. He goes, "Yeah, but I got to sell it." And I said, "Why?" He goes, "It's right on the street." He's going, "So anytime somebody comes out of the house, the paparazzi take pictures. If I walk out, paparazzi." He's like, "I need a yard. I need a driveway with gates and shit." And then he had to go take a phone call, so he steps away. And my wife is like, "I want this house." Really? And I was like, "Well, then you married the wrong guy from fucking Mallrats, because he seems to be doing very well at shit." But Affleck sold it to me for what he bought it for, even though he put $1 million into it.
Really?
And for the first year I lived there renting it for $5,000 a month. And he's like, "Rent it until you can buy it. Then when you can buy it, whatever you paid me in rent, we'll take off the top of the purchase price."
I love these good stories about him.
He's a good dude.
I love these good stories about him.
Would it be tacky to say how much that cost? How much the house cost me way back in the day?
No, it's not.
So it was 2002. 2002 we moved in. 2003 I was able to buy it. Take a guess.
2002 you moved in. 2003 I would say you bought it for. I'm gonna have to guess 3.5.
I'm gonna say that it is less than half of that. It was a $1.6 million home.
Oh my god!
But again, it was 2002.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
So there's my fucking retirement. I mean, I'll never retire, but like when we sell that house, hopefully we sell it for like what the current market value.
What is it? I'm gonna be Zillowing it the second we get off this.
Do it.
It's my favorite thing to do.
Zillow?
I Zillow.
That's
Anytime I go to someone's house.
It's a very young thing to do. Like my kid and her boyfriend. My kid has her own house.
By the way,
she lives in
your daughter got the cool name before it was cool.
Before anybody knew what it was.
Yeah.
She was named Harley. Well, she still is Harley Quinn. And people would be like, "What do you ride?" And I'm like, "No, it's named after the Joker's girlfriend in comics and animation."
Yeah.
And people would back away. But then, once that character broke, people were like, "Oh shit."
Oh, you pulled it up on Zillow?
She likes to Zillow. Like the kids today, they don't go to Pornhub. They fucking Zillow. They just "Oh my God, look how much this house would cost if we bought it." Which to me is like shopping. Like I like buying. Shopping is like where you walk around and be like, "That'd be nice." I go to the mall. I go to the food store. I buy. I don't shop.
I was not good at buying. I don't think I saw this house before she bought it.
This house?
Yeah, I don't think because
the secondary podcasting house.
Leanne just was like, "I'm getting it."
Smart.
And she just knows the real estate market.
Yeah.
And she follows it. And she has a woman they do this. They'll. It's our real estate broker, but they're a team, the two of them.
Right.
I mean, the girls, I was on the road one time, the girls called me and they were like, "Hey, we're at the beach. We want a beach house. Can we buy one?" And I was like, "No, we cannot." And Leanne's like, "We can afford it. Can we get it?" And I was like, "Hold on, I haven't even fucking seen it." And they're like, "Do you trust us? We're happy." And I was like, "Oh, fuck, yeah, whatever."
Did they buy the beach house?
They ended up not buying that one, but buying a better one.
And what is the beach in question?
Oxnard.
That's not bad.
I love Oxnard.
Yeah, that's nice.
I love Oxnard. But I that fucking house your house is the one. I actually just took someone the other day.
Your life will be complete if you buy that house.
I just took someone the other day and said,
it's the house with the big green door. That's what we call it. God. Actually, to be fair, we've been in that house 22 years. Affleck lived in it for 6 months, and we still call it Ben's house. That's what a big figure he is.
Do you think I'm going to tell everyone I bought your house? I bought Ben Affleck's house.
There you go. Absolutely. You go back.
I'm wondering who he bought it from.
You never mentioned it. And people will be like, "Did you just buy it from him recently?" Be like, "I don't know who had it, but somebody had it after him." You know who had it before Ben?
Who?
Terrence Trent D'Arby.
No.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Wishing well. So I bought that on cassette, record, and CD. So I figured like I owned a piece of that house before I ever walked into
What's
that house.
Terrence D'Arby doing now?
He changed his name.
No.
It's not Terrence Trent D'Arby. That wasn't his real name.
He transitioned?
I think he just went back to what his real name was. I think that was his stage name.
Oh, Terrence Trent D'Arby.
God, look at this is something I know. I've been podcasting since 2007.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
It never occurred to me to have somebody
No wonder he changed his fucking name.
There it is.
His name is Sanananda Francisco Miatieria.
But it says born Terrence Trent Howard. So obviously that was his real name.
Oh, why would he change it to something more difficult to spell?
Why Terrence Trent D'Arby became, it was that or death, he says. So I guess he wanted to get away from Terrence Trent D'Arby.
He's only 60 years old.
Yeah.
He's still young.
He was, I believe, the first owner of my home.
Type in net worth. I'm dying to see what he's worth. In that tacky, I
Do you
remember I
believe
did
that,
that. I
though?
did that. No, but it's close.
Is it really?
Well, sometimes.
Type in your net worth and see how close it is.
I'll tell you what it is. No, 2
Isn't that
million.
worth
He's
of
got
2 million?
He's gonna have more than that.
Yeah, I feel like that seems low.
I did this with.
Do Bert's net worth and let's see how close it gets.
I'll tell you. I know my net worth. We just got it done the other day.
Did you really? How does that happen? How does one get your net worth done?
My business manager,
Tom Segura.
yeah, my business sat me down and he goes, "Here's how." No, it's not even close.
So what does this say?
8
All right.
million.
Higher or lower?
Oh, it's so lower. It's literally no. It's higher.
It's higher than with that figure up
Yeah,
there.
yeah. And so, but they tell you own this house, you own this house, you own this house. This is what you own these houses.
Yeah.
This is what you have in your retirement. This is what you have in savings. This is what, and they went through and then in a pie chart, they tell you where all your assets are, and then they tell you your net worth in the center.
And so when you say you own this house, you own multiple homes. Obviously, you own at least two.
we have yeah. And Leanne's looking to buy another house.
That's what you guys do with the money.
Buy houses. We
Smart.
don't invest in anything. We just buy houses.
Smart.
And so,
Why wasn't I that smart?
listen, I'm fucking, whatever you're doing right now is what I'll be doing in 10 years. So I'm going to just fucking follow. I'm going to be selling my houses to
To some guy who was like, I used to pass by your house when I
some
was
guy
young.
who's got a late night talk show and things have changed. All right. What did we forget? What did we not talk about? Fuck. The most important thing I wanted to talk to you about.
Go.
So you recently went in
Mental health facility.
Yeah.
I lost my mind. I had a complete break with reality, and I went to a place called Sierra Tucson in Arizona, not far from, did you say you're going to Red Rocks?
Yeah.
Isn't that in Arizona?
No, it's in Colorado.
So there's a Red Rock in Arizona. I've passed it lately a lot. So I was like, oh, maybe that's the Red Rocks that people play at, but that's in Colorado.
Yeah. Red Rocks is in Colorado. I'll be there in October. Guys, get your tickets at bertbert.com.
Well done.
I'm assuming it's already sold out, but just if it isn't, there's still general admission tickets. So were you smoking weed at the time?
When I went in, yeah, but I didn't think that was my problem.
I don't think it was your problem either. I know you don't smoke weed anymore.
Yeah, once I was in there for a month, like obviously you can't smoke weed in there. And when I was getting out, I was like, you know what? Like, I'm fine. Like, I haven't done it for 4 weeks. Let me see how long I can keep going. So right now, I think I'm at 16 weeks weed free.
By the way,
sooner or later, I'll start doing it in months.
I'm not a big weed guy.
Oh,
I mean, I
was a
smoke
massive
weed.
weed guy.
I know you are. I went through and pulled out. I had to go through the house and get all our weed because I was like, I guess we're getting high today. And then Christine was like, oh, he hasn't smoked weed in 2023. And I went, oh, for real? I was like, okay, that's cool. I guess I'll work out tonight.
It's what an option. It's been 16 weeks weed free.
So
which is how many months? 4 months?
I don't know. I feel like I have kids again. I do have kids.
Doing math.
I still have kids. When they
I met one downstairs. Yeah. She was like Tusk.
Yeah. When they go, he's 16 weeks, and then that's your wife. I used to have a joke about it. That's what your wife would say. She's 16 weeks, and then that's all you knew. So people go, "How old are your kids?" You go, 16 weeks, and you use that, and then they're like, "She's 3 years old." You're like, "I'm 16 weeks. Is that not 3 years?" She wears a wristwatch. So that was always my determination of how old a child is to wear a wristwatch. And that's when
a 16. That's when a kid who's measured in weeks becomes a child, becomes a human. Today I'm a man. That's a kid's bar mitzvah when they wear a fucking watch.
Yeah. So because I feel like, from what I've heard, I feel like that mental break that you had is coming around the corner for me.
You know, honestly, it's not the scariest thing in the world. If you're burning the candle at all ends and then you're buying a candle factory and lighting that on fire too, and I suspect, like me, that you're just like, hey man, things are happening. I want them to continue happening. That was life for me since like the moment Clerks happened.
Yeah.
And people go on vacations, and I don't do that kind of thing.
I don't do that either.
Like I
don't understand people who don't work.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
But it could. I'm not saying it will, but you may wind up at a place where you break because people aren't made to work as often as we do. And it's not like the work that I don't know what your parents did, but it's not like the same work that like my dad did, where my dad hated fucking work.
Yeah,
and he would do it and he would come home and then he would not think about work at all. He would leave it there. His job was just a thing to pay for what he loved most in life, which was his wife and children. Wife and child, who I absolutely fucking adore, though, were secondary to work. Like, I was like, you don't understand. The chances that this shit was ever going to fucking happen for me, I'd have a career, are fucking 1 in a billion. So I ain't going to fuck that up, and I'm going to keep fucking going. So
yeah, okay.
I'm
You're saying everything I've
I've
said out loud. People go, I remember Chris Hardwick. Shout out to Chris Hardwick. I hope this doesn't throw shade on him. But he goes, don't you think it's a little irresponsible for you to have children when you work as hard as you do? You shouldn't you be home raising your children? And I was like, I don't. Are you speaking a different language? What are you talking about?
Yeah,
in my head, I was like,
that sounds a little judgy.
Yeah, I was like, I remember. You can find the quote, whatever he said. I remember going like, I remember saying, and I've always said this: dudes go to Afghanistan for 2 years, with families. So I justify me working hard as like everyone works hard. And I want to work as hard as I want to work, and I don't understand people who take breaks off. People go, I need time off. My assistant has not had a day off since he met me. Right. My wife has to tell him, you need to go home. And he goes, but he works the way I work, and it's just all day, every fucking day, from the second I wake up till the second I go to bed. But the thing that I heard that you said is, Jake, you were having a hard time distinguishing who you were versus who you really were. At a certain
point, I always kind of chalked it up to, there's me, the authentic me, and then there's the other guy, which is the one who goes up on stage. And while I was in there, I realized that I was being kind by saying there were two of us. I've identified 10 different facets to my personality, all of which are always trying to grab for the wheel at any given moment. The other guy was the one I eventually let take over. I went on the convenience tour from like September to December, and I probably shouldn't have gone because there was something happening in my life that I probably should have stopped and taken care of my head and heart. But instead, we had like a 95% sell through, and I was like, I can't fucking, we got tens of thousands of people waiting. I'm not going to disappoint them. Plus, I wasn't the only one making money. There were other profit participants in the thing. So I was like, if I don't go, I'm absolutely fucked.
I make people money. I make people money. When I go on tour, I make 18 people's mortgages.
Yes, that's the thing. It's like, it's not just, I don't just support myself and my family. I've been supporting a lot of people for a lot of fucking years. And I'm not even counting
agents, managers, lawyers. I'm not counting about those people. I'm talking about 18 people are get on tour buses and get in semis, and those 18 people work for fucking 4 months and then get their nut. And that happened to me when I did the pandemic tour. I did a tour during the pandemic, and all anyone said to me was like, and it made my heart swell, but like, you go to a place and do big fucking guys who move stages and lights are like, Bert, this is during the pandemic. Thanks for the work, buddy.
Yes, of course. Because there was no fucking work to be had for those cats, and the fact that you would go out there and do the work means that like you're putting food on the table, not just for you and yours, but for people who come up to you and say hi and thank you, who you'll never fucking see again.
Yeah.
There's a lot of responsibility in being like the chief breadwinner, and I don't just mean in a family. I mean like for this, the trickle down, for the amount of people that you take care of, is a responsibility that you haven't even come to grips with yet. Mm-hmm. To stop means it stops for so many other people.
For everyone.
And they don't like, it's not like a negative thing where they're like, that's my meal ticket and shit. But that's how they live, is off of you. And you get to do the things that you love. And I could tell that you do these things not out of a sense of responsibility or not because you're like, I got all these mouths to feed. This would be shit you'd be doing for free if it wasn't your job.
I did do all of it for free. I did the podcasts were all for free at one point. Me and Tom's, even this one was for free. My cooking show was for free for a very long time.
Right.
And I did stand up for free when I first started. I even paid to get on stage at some places because that's the way it worked.
Right.
So yeah, I understand all of that, and you have no idea how closely it hits. There's a scene in the movie where they asked me. To, it's like a pivotal scene in the movie. I hope everyone goes see the movie. I'm not going to spoil alert it.
May 25th?
May 26th, Memorial Day weekend. It's in the movie theaters. Go to the machine.movie.
When are you coming to Smog Castle Cinemas to show it?
Fucking, that will happen. I'm going to make that happen. This is the beauty about having a team.
In New Jersey.
And now I can just go to Christine. Can you just set that up and then we'll do it? Done.
Be lovely. When are you east again?
Tomorrow.
To do what?
To do press. And then... Yeah, do press and then go down. I do Drink Champs in Miami. I'm really excited for that.
What is that?
Drink Champs. It's fucking. hip hop podcast that they only really talk to hip hop guys technically, but I'm a big fan and I'm a bigger drinker.
Right.
So like I'm like saving up to go for Drink Champs. It's
That's genius.
But there's a scene in the movie where they asked me if I could I can't even tell you about it because it's a very pivotal. What you went through is a very pivotal thing in our movie because I am fucking. If you're asking me who I am,
right?
I do not know right now,
right?
Because I know I'm the machine.
Yes.
Like I know I'm Bert.
Yes.
But like I don't. But it's so fucking. It's those you know when you go to the vision guy the ophthalmologist and
Yes.
he goes better.
Yep. Yep.
I feel like we're stuck here, and I
Somewhere
don't
in the
know what
middle.
I'm seeing. I don't know who I am anymore.
It's always important. What I've learned is it's always important to hold on to the authentic self. Once you kind of let that slip in favor of one of your facets of your personality, the one that like fucking works, the one that you turn on. Because I think like me, you are your job. But at a certain point, nobody can be that. At a certain point, that is something you turn on.
Oh,
and for me, it was like I refer to him as the other guy, and I always saw him as like a fucking Muppet with rivets that opens up, and then I sit inside and I fucking control. And when I had my break back in January, it was basically I opened up the other guy looking for the authentic me inside. And the authentic me wasn't there, and I thought either he'd gotten so bored with how much I worked that he fucked off, or worse, that the other guy had just burned the authentic me for fuel to get as far as we got. So you have to be very fucking careful. I'm not telling you to pull back by any stretch of the imagination, especially when you got a movie coming out and stuff. But there has to be, and I say this, it's so easy to say, but it's so very hard to do. Even since I got out of the place, I still continue to work. It's like, there has to be a moment where you're not working. And I don't mean like, oh, that's when I watch Veep. I'm talking about taking time off. And I say that, and I still can't even fucking do it myself. Lately, I've been like burning at both ends again, but more like my mom's been in the hospital in Florida, so there's been a lot of trips down there while, fucking I'm still trying to work, while we're putting together the next movie, while I'm working on my fucking marriage because like I went away for a fucking minute and shit like that. While, it's just a lot of fucking plates to spin at the same time. And that's how I wound up in Sierra Tucson. Now, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. That probably saved my life. Having a break with reality probably saved my fucking life. If it didn't happen, I would have eventually hit a wall. I do a lot of fucking driving up on Mulholland Drive, one of my favorite places to go. But I would, when you drive, you're dissociative as fuck because you know how to get to a place. You're not really using your brain anymore.
Yeah.
So you're just on autopilot and shit. Add to that, I smoked a fuck ton of weed, which is also very dissociative. So when I was in Sierra, as I was going in, people were like, make sure you talk about the driving. And I was like, what, that I'm a great driver? That I can get you to LAX in fucking 10 minutes from my house when really it's a 40-minute ride and shit? And they were like, no, how nobody will drive with you anymore. Because it got to a place where, and still pretty much lives in that place, where everyone in my life stopped driving with me because I drove like I didn't care whether I lived or died. Now, in my head, that's not suicidal. Like, I'd never felt that I had suicidal intent by any stretch of the imagination. Trigger warning, sorry, I'm saying it too late for those out there who suffer from that sort of thing. I just felt like, I drive like it's a video game, and I don't even play video games. But what they told me in there was like, that's unconscious death wish behavior, Kevin. I was like, how? Just because I like to fucking drive, not fast, but not have anyone in front of me. They're like, if you're doing 105 miles per hour around blind curves and passing people on Mulholland Drive, yeah, that's unconscious death wish behavior. My kid, who's always been something of a canary in the coal mine for me, she was like the last one to step out of the car. And she was like, you're going to get me killed. And I was like, don't worry, I never die in a car, as if I know that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, that doesn't account for me. Maybe you lived through the fucking accident that you're going to put us into, but maybe I, on the passenger side, fucking don't. She's like, I love you, but I won't drive with you anymore.
Wow.
So I can easily dissociate. And once I step in a car, it's one of my facets of my personality. I call him Road Kev. The moment I get in the car, like this guy that you're talking to, who, to be fair, I've tried to be entertaining, but I've also been giving authentic Kev this whole time.
Yeah.
I haven't had to turn it on. That's I generally save for the stage and stuff. And by the way, it's not like I want to eradicate any of these. They're all essential, right? Like at the end of the day, they're all me, but like can't get rid of the other guy. That's how I fucking earn. Can't get rid of Road Kev. That's how I get places very fast. In fact, I got here in fucking 7 minutes when the fucking thing said 18. So, you know, but that also means I probably jeopardized a lot of lives on the way here. It's important to know all the facets of your personality, and it's important that the authentic you is always at the wheel. When you want to surrender the wheel to one of those personalities that is far more effective at doing a thing than authentic you is, that's okay, so long as you take the wheel back when you're done. For example, if you're going to go up on stage and you want to be the machine, you don't want fucking Bert up there. You want the machine up there. That's who they're paying to see and stuff. But at the end of the night, it's important that the machine goes into the back seat and Bert is at the wheel again.
Okay, what if,
And mind you, I'm not the smartest guy in the room. This is just shit I've learned recently, and I'm at the beginning of my journey. Like, I'm at the starting line of my new me, not at the fucking, I'm not wizened. I'm not at the end of it. I'm not like Methuselah on the mountain. I've just learned some shit in the course of the last few months that I'm still trying to put into practice. But since you asked, it feels like maybe it's something you might want to hear. The long and short of it is when the movie comes out and does exactly what it's meant to do, which is going to be a lot of fucking business and shit, take a big chunk of time off.
I don't have that.
I feel you, because I'm the same fucking person.
I don't have that.
But you gotta. Like, otherwise you will wind up in that place. And you'll wind up taking time off against your will. Like, you'll have to take fucking time off. Make the choice.
I would embrace rehab.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
I said, you know what I said? I said to someone the other day, they said, what's your dream? I wasn't even fucking around. I was just saying it like casually. I said, well, what I'd like is I would like to uphold all my responsibilities. Right. I want to do all the press for this movie, fly out, do Rogan, fly back, do the premiere. We're going to live stream into theaters on that Wednesday. We're going to live stream, or Thursday, we're going to live stream into theaters.
That's cool.
So people can watch the live stream from the red carpet. And then I want to go up to the front of the theater before the movie starts, thank everyone. I hope you enjoy it. And just as the lights close, I want Leanne to put chloroform over my face.
Yes.
And I want to wake up in a facility 5 days later.
Yes.
And we put you in a coma.
Yeah.
Your body's well rested now. You haven't drank in 5 days. Your sleep's doing good. You lost some weight. We gave you hair transplants, and I hope you're ready. You got a really busy month.
Here's the
up.
thing: you can make that dream come true, just like the fucking I want to sit in a sedan and smoke a cigar and listen to Steely Dan. You have the ability to make that.
I feel like okay, I'm gonna because
the best thing about that going into that facility, aside from them helping me find my lost marbles and saving my life, was they take your phone and your laptop away.
Okay. I said
that's something you'll never surrender on your own.
I swear to God, in the car today, I said, I may get rid of my phone. I may get rid of my phone because I think it's fucking me up.
It's a wise choice.
And Leanne goes,
and you know it's impossible to do, but like being forced, it's like you can't stay here and have that. It's against HIPAA rules and shit like that.
I feel like
a good thing.
You ready for my analogy of how I feel about me?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say that Bert. Okay, so let's say there's Bert in the machine, right?
Yes.
So Bert is this lush forest with all natural preserves. There's natural medicines inside there, and there's gold ore, and like there's like all these great fruits
of milk and honey.
Milk and honey. And the machine is this colonialist, like imperialist that comes in, and he takes the stuff out of there, and then he goes, they're gonna love this on stage. Yes. And then Bert goes, but is that a good idea? And he goes, don't fucking worry. Have I ever fucked you up? And I go, no. And then the machine shares all those things and does. And by the way, it made great business. But there's times where I definitely feel like if the machine stops taking, then the forest goes, but what are we just supposed to grow? And there's other bad stuff that happens in that forest, like anxiety attacks and panic and knowing that one day it goes black and I'm going to die. All that shit happens in that forest. So I got into a situation now where the forest is saying to the machine, can you keep going fast enough so we don't have to deal with the shit going on in the forest?
Right.
Like, so I feel like I'm working as hard as I can because I really feel like when I slow down, it is like I can almost hear the monkey stop. You know, like gung, 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 and then I can hear him just go, sing. And he's looking, he's like, oh, what the fuck are we gonna do? We're gonna fucking sit like this for this Saturday? Are we gonna get high? Or what the fuck? What time is it? When can we have a cocktail? And then the machine's like, fucking open Instagram live. Gong, 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 gong.
You always have to be doing a thing.
Yeah. My Instagram stories, I've said this a million times. People go, Rogan always goes, why do you post so many Instagram stories? I swear to God, when I turn it on, I have no anxiety. It's almost like I forget that anything's going on in my life or that something may be bothering me or something that is in my head, and I'll get on and I get into the machine or whatever camera. It used to happen when I scuba dived. When I'd scuba dive, I would get severe panic attacks, but I'd do it for Travel Channel.
Right.
But if I saw a camera there, then I could get rid of the panic attack by playing to the camera. Because I go, no one dies in front of a camera. Oh, things are good in front of a camera.
That sounds an awful lot like I don't die in a car.
Yeah. It does sound like I don't die in a car.
It
does sound like I don't die in a car.
I'm going to tell you this because everyone is on their own journey, and you're going to get there how you're going to get there. But when it's time, I have no stock in this place. It's not like I have stock in liquid death like some people at this fucking table. God, I wish I was that smart. When it's time, go to Sierra Tucson. This place saved my fucking life. They're very good at what they do.
My trainer,
and I say when it's time because you're right, it is coming.
It's gonna rear its head.
Yeah, you can tell.
It's gonna rear its head. I always say
because you can't give up your favorite hobby, and your favorite hobby is you and your career. Because you and your career are interchangeable at this point.
There was a point where I never understood. When
that's
I was
not criticism. That's just game recognizing game.
There was a point where I wondered, I was like, what is wrong with Dave Chappelle? Why would he go to South Africa? And then one day I went, oh, I get it. Yeah. Oh, I totally get it. I get it so clearly that I wanted to know, what flight did you take?
Yeah. And think about this. He did step away and came back more powerful than ever before. He was like fucking Ben Kenobi. He's like, if you strike me down, I should be more powerful than you could possibly imagine. When I was in Sierra Tucson, I had this kind of weird breakthrough moment where I was telling my trauma therapist, Kelly Park, she was amazing. She goes, she's talking about how I work so much.
I would love to find out my trauma.
Oh, you'll find out. You'll find out.
I would love, I said, I was the only reason I take ayahuasca if I could really legit go, oh, by the way, this is the trauma you're fucking dealing with. Because everyone's defined by their trauma.
Yes.
Everyone.
And it's not one. It's not like Batman where it's like, my parents were killed in an alley. It's a series of them.
Yeah.
And it expands your entire fucking life. But, I was talking about why I work so much. And, for years people have been like, you're a workaholic. But I was like, to me, workaholism is, they don't like their jobs. I love my fucking job. That's why it's easy to do my job. But I said, look, I'm not like Quentin. Like Quentin could make a movie, take 10 years off, make a movie. And when he makes the movie, everyone's going to come back regardless. I was like, I'm the other guy. I have to stay relevant. I have to keep going or else they'll fucking forget me.
I'm not Ali Wong.
Kelly goes, how do you know that? And I was like, and then I realized that was just some shit I made up in my head. I have no idea. I've never even put that to the test, so I don't fucking know if I stepped away for fucking 6 months, a year, or whatever the fuck. That perhaps I'd come back and people would be like, oh, fuck, we missed you.
Ali Wong pulled me aside at the Comedy Store one night. Sorry, Ali, if I'm sharing secrets. But and she said, hey, it doesn't go away. And I said, what? She goes, like, the touring and the comedy, it doesn't go away. You need to take some time off. And I went, hey, Ali, I'm not you. Like, you are special. You're really a brilliant comic. I'm Bert. Like, I'm a lunch pail dude who I show up to work every single fucking day because that's what people do.
Yeah. And
I'm going to bust my ass. I'm going to try to outwork everyone because I'm not as talented as you. I'm not as good as you. That's fucking exactly how I feel.
I have thought those thoughts.
Yeah.
And
I go,
here's the thing, we'll never know unless we test it.
Yeah. And then Yeah, but then what if I'm sitting in a fucking building a fence 2 years from now going, God damn it, why the fuck did I listen to Kevin? I should have fucking...
Well, is it a fence around one of your many fucking pieces of property?
No fences?
Because if that's the case,
Did you ever have a job that you would, when things would get overwhelming and you'd be sitting in some town car, driving in some city, and you'd be disconnected and you'd look and see someone doing something and go, man, how great would it be that guy? Just building a fence all day long. And I bet he doesn't take that to bed with him. I bet he builds it and he goes home. And
that part, yes.
Cold beer. And then he wakes up and he goes, I just got to get there by 8 to start building fences.
I used to be judgy about my dad because I'm like, I asked him at one point, I was like, right before Clerks happened, I was, I'd made the movie, but it hadn't been picked up or anything. I had the temerity to fucking go deep with him. I was like, Dad, what did you dream about doing when you were a kid? He was like, what do you mean? I was like, I dream about being a movie maker. What did you dream about doing before you gave up? And he was like, I didn't give up. My dreams came true. I was like, well, what were your dreams? He goes, I wanted to get married and have children. And I was like, oh, so your shit happened at age 27. He goes, exactly. And so I was like, I respect that. But at the same time, I was like, anybody could fucking do that. Anybody can get married and have a child. That's not a dream.
Pull out.
Yeah, I was exactly. So I kind of judged my old man for not being ambitious. And he hated his fucking job, but it was a job. It began and it fucking ended and stuff. And now years later, I realized he was the smartest man I ever met. He treated work like work. Like he was able to be like, it starts here, and then when it's done, I go fucking to my real life. But I always kind of made myself feel like, well, all your dreams come true, and that is your real life. You're living the fucking dream. Your dad would never understand that. My dad understood far more than I ever gave him credit for. If I could ever pull something off like Scott Mosier, he's gone, the guy that produced all my movies and stuff.
He passed?
Smodcast. No, he passed to a better world where he does not fucking beholden to Kevin Smith anymore. He realized I need my own life. And he's a guy that got there before I got there. He became mindful and was like, fuck work, I'm going to be me and shit like that. But Scott, he's so Buddhist, it's crazy. For example, he just sold this fucking script to Warner Brothers that they turned into this movie that's going to have Angelina Jolie and Halle Berry, and it's called Maud vs. Maud. It's like a fucking 8-figure deal or something like that.
Holy shit.
And I was like, oh my God, dude, that's, how does it feel to have that crazy success? And Mosier said, he goes, there's a Buddhist saying, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. And I'm like, all right, I get it. He's fucking so centered and shit. But he gave me this exercise a couple weeks ago where he goes, if you could do anything you wanted today, anything in the world that's not Kevin Smith oriented, that's not your job, that doesn't involve fans, what would it be? And I was like, all right. And it took me 2 days to fucking think of anything. What I finally came up with was I would hang out with my dad. He's been dead for, nearly 20 years. So I didn't know if that one counted because it's like, he didn't say dream up a fantasy. It's like something you could fucking do.
I was going to say jerk off in the ocean, but.
Why the ocean?
I don't know. I was at the ocean today and I jerked off in the ocean one time and it was really cool.
What about jerking off in one of your many fucking pools at all your estates that you have?
I haven't jerked off in a while. It's been a long time. And I'm on testosterone.
Wait.
Yeah.
You have too much or too little testosterone?
I had too little, so I upped it. It's a long story. Anyway, go back.
And that has prevented you from jerking off?
No, I haven't needed to. Well, no, it's a long story, and I think my daughter's listening, so I'm just going to, at least she's downstairs listening, and I already talked about fucking a fleshlight. And
it's got to be, it's refreshing to find that you have lines anywhere.
That's interesting you say that because the machine borrowed from Bert at the beginning of this podcast when we were talking about fleshlights.
Right.
And he's like, oh, come on, it's a fun secret. It's a good story. And then when you started saying this, I went, because one of the big things I did were it's crazy that it's interesting that you talk about this because it is a very pivotal thing in my movie, The Machine, coming out Memorial Day weekend. Go to themachine.movie to pre-get your tickets. What's interesting is I unwittingly or wittingly leveraged all my family's anonymity by doing stand-up. I didn't realize how precious anonymity was.
Explain.
And so Isla, my wife, and my daughter Georgia have been in all my stand-up acts. So people know them very intimately. And so Isla went, they go thrift shopping, her and her friend the other day at some swap meet, and these dudes come up and they're like, fuck, you're Isla. We love your dad. Dude, it's so cool. And you forget how awesome it is to be anonymous at 16,
Right.
as opposed to your dad made you famous at 16.
Talk to my kid too.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that
Isla
was
and
part
Harley could probably give Isla some advice.
I
I made my family here. My kid goes, just recently I was like, oh, I want to do this movie and I want Austin to be in it. No, that's her boyfriend. And I said he could play young me because it's like based on me when I was a kid and stuff. And I was like, and you could be in it too. And, 48 hours before she got back to me. And then she got back to me. She goes, you know what, Dad, I am going to do it. She's going, I'll be honest with you though, at the thought of being in another thing of yours, like I just felt like I shouldn't do it. She's gone, but then I realized like one day you're going to die and I'll be sad that I didn't work with you as much as I could have and stuff. But she was like, it's just like I understand now. She's like, Austin helped me understand that you saying, oh, come do this thing, that is your love language. She's like, you do it with everybody that you care about. She's like, you don't hang out with your friends. You make a thing and bring all your friends into it. You make them famous. You fucking put them to work. Like, so you can't just sit in a room with people and be like, hey, let's just hang out and talk. And then they go home. Like, you're like, well, that's wasted content.
Why wouldn't you podcast it?
Bang.
What the fuck? Why would
Bang.
you podcast?
Bang. That has exactly been my thought process. Why would we have a conversation without a microphone in it? Because
Guys,
it's a waste of time, waste of breath. But she's like, I get it. That's your love language. And when you say, let's do a thing, that is like you saying you love somebody.
Tom and I haven't spoken without money involved in fucking
That's
2 years.
That's Scott
We don't
Mosier.
talk on the phone.
Scott
We
Mosier,
don't
same fucking thing. At a certain point, Scott like kind of stepped away, and we were relearning how to be friends. Like, because my first instinct is like, well, shit, like come over and we'll record it. And he's like, let's just have a conversation. Let's just talk.
That makes me so uncomfortable. Let's just get mics on and get some cameras on and fucking monetize that shit, baby.
I know, because I'm like, everything we say.
I'm trying to
is worth
monetize my
listening to.
sleep.
That'd be smart.
Yeah, I'm going to do a dream podcast where we coach people's dreams in, like, we put them to sleep, like the Calm app, and then once we get them in, we then take you on adventure dreams because you're listening to it. So, like, we are planning words in your head, like, then we're all going to fight a dragon.
I love that.
And then we're like, but first, take a sip of Coca-Cola. This week's podcast is brought to you by Coca-Cola. And tomorrow morning they wake up and they're like, I wouldn't mind a Coca-Cola. You want Coca-Cola?
Suddenly I feel very thirsty.
Yeah, it happened to me with Pop-Tarts. I was listening to something on YouTube and it transitioned into the history of Pop-Tarts. It might have been a podcast on History Channel.
Right.
And they told me the history of Pop-Tarts and I was sleeping.
And you woke
And
up.
I woke up and I went, I want a fucking Pop-Tart. And I'm like, I need a fucking Pop-Tart. I kept saying craving Pop-Tarts. And I forget where we were. I forget where the fuck we were. It was the day I took a day off and I went to a hotel room. And I took a day off. I was losing my voice and they got me a hotel room instead of staying on the tour bus. And I stayed on the tour. I said thing. I go, I'm fucking craving a Pop-Tart. And then I went on Amazon and I bought every flavor of Pop-Tart that they had.
Genius.
And had them shipped to our house. And then that night I get in my bunk and I'm like, time to listen to a podcast. I go, ooh, how did I get on the history podcast? The foods that made America.
Oh,
and then I was
love
like,
that.
oh, click. And then it goes, did you know that country squares were originally what Pop-Tarts? And I went, motherfucker.
They incepted
got
your
in my
dreams.
head.
Yeah.
They got in my fucking head.
To be fair, a Pop-Tart tastes like a happy childhood. So like you would not be wrong to want a Pop-Tart regardless.
I introduced my daughter Isla to Pop-Tarts. And literally minutes before you came, she's like, yo, what flavor should I have? Because we got all the Pop-Tarts we have. Like, I'm heavy into Pop-Tarts right now.
Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts were stolen from, they were stolen because the company that came up with Pop-Tarts, the guys that did Country Squares, were so proud of their invention that they put a news breakout like, coming this fall, Country Squares. And then Nabisco's like, fuck that. We can do that. Let's make them. And so they made them.
They
and
took on
they
toaster
released
pastries.
Do you know where they got the name Pop-Tart?
No.
One of the big things at the time was Andy Warhol's
Pop art.
And they just added a T, Pop-Tart. And they sold off all the shelves the first week they came out, and they had to restock. And Pop-Tart was worried that what if Country Squares shows up now? They've already got it. We've introduced them to them. Country Squares shows up, and we're going to lose our fucking thing. But Pop-Tart doubled their, they invested something like $13 million in their production. I don't know why this is the information I retain.
Here's the thing that I walk away from this with. I had no idea Country Squares existed.
Yeah.
Where are they now?
They changed the name. Type in Country Squares.
Do they have any market share in the toaster pastry?
I remember seeing them on when I was a kid. They were like the knockoff Pop-Tart.
I was going to say, it sounds like the Food Town or ShopRite brand of Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
Like, the no-name brand, like Country Square.
I saw 2 Russian people, newly to this country, I'm assuming, because they were disgusting cereals. There were so many cereals, and they were talking in Russian. I don't understand.
That's what's great about America. You walk into a fucking cereal aisle in any other country, you've got Corn Flakes, Rice Krispie, maybe 2 other choices. In America,
Post made Country Squares, correct? And then Kellogg made Pop-Tarts. There we go.
Country Squares are here. There they are. A black and white ad, and that's it.
Yeah.
Forgotten in history.
I know. I heard the Russian couple was in front of the cereal line, and I think it's smatrit is whatever it is. It's the word for look.
Okay.
And he kept saying to her, look, like. There's so many. Like he's like, I can understand catch words, and they were trying to figure out what to do. And I was watching where they're pointing, and then he was pointing to the bottom, like, go and just get those. And then she was like, no, but there's like so many cereals.
Yes.
And I was like, and I so badly wish my Russian was better, because I would have jumped in and go, guys, I know your language, and trust me when I say, I'm your cereal guy. Let me take you to a guide, and I'd explain all the cereals to them. That was the only time I wish that my Russian was better.
I have been a huge cereal fan my whole life. A perfect food stuff. But once I'm not trying to be trendy, but I've been vegan since my heart attack. So for 5 years, I've been a vegan. It limits, like even my Pop-Tart intake, it limits because that shit they put on top is not vegan. Oreos are perfectly vegan. But you can get the Pop-Tart without an icing, without frosting, like any of the fruit Pop-Tarts, and they're totally vegan.
Yeah. How I tried doing vegan for it was like 45 minutes. And I'm being serious. Like I said, I made a bet. I'm gonna go vegan, and everyone we were at an airport, and I was like, I'm gonna go vegan. Fuck it, I'm gonna go vegan. I know that'll be heart healthy. Right. I'm going vegan. So I get on the plane. And it's 45 minutes right before boarding. I kill my drinks. We get on the plane. I'm in first class, and we take off. And the lady says, "Can I get you something for lunch?" I said, "What do you guys have? What do you guys have?" And she said the 2 things, and I went, "Ugh. You know what? Can I just get the pasta with nothing on it?" She goes, "Yeah." So I was like, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah. I mean, we can do that. I'll just put the side on the sauce." I go, "No sauce, just the pasta, a little butter." She goes, "Great." So I start eating the pasta and the butter. I don't know what vegan is. And the guy goes, what's wrong? Why did you get it like that? And I go, "I'm vegan." And he goes, "Oh, really?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, there's butter's not vegan, neither is pasta. I said, "What?" And he goes, "There's egg in pasta."
Pasta can be vegan.
Yeah,
if
and
there's
I
no
went,
egg in it.
And I was like, "Fuck." I was like, I tried really hard. And then that night, I ate, and then I fucking put the stuff on the pasta. I was like, fuck that. I'm going to enjoy it if I'm not going to be vegan.
Do you know what the fix is for that?
What?
Just don't eat food on a plane. Penn Jillette taught me that. Penn Jillette was like, Penn Jillette's thing was he started with the potato diet. And so he always carried around a baked potato. But he's like, how long's a fucking flight? 5 hours? He's going, just don't eat anything they offer.
It's so hard.
We think that because
especially
we're not
if it's
really
a
hungry.
cheeseburger.
We're not hungry, but we just want to kill some time on the flight.
That's why I drink.
Find a different way to. There you go. Drinking's vegan.
Oh yeah, I drink. Trust me, I do both. I fucking fight. I went vegan for a second though when I got home.
Right.
And I was like, I'm gonna do it. So I made vegan meatloaf.
Right.
Loved it.
Do you like Beyond Burgers?
I do, but I'm concerned about if they are, because my cousin's vegan.
Yeah.
You want to hear a funny story about another
Don't
vegan?
Ruin Beyond
Halston,
Burgers,
aren't you vegan?
Burgers for me.
You want to hear a funny story about a vegan guy?
Yes.
This is a really funny story about a vegan guy.
Fire.
So over on Riverside, there's a bar called Pat's, Riverside in Laurel Canyon.
Right.
And next door to it is a place called, what's the name of that place? AJ's Tex-Mex Tacos.
Okay.
They're fucking awesome. And Halston is vegan. And he goes, and so we go, and I said, I don't know what you can get, Halston. He goes, you know what? I'm just going to get the chorizo taco. And we're like, really? And he's like, yeah. It's really good. And I went, really? I go, Halston, aren't you vegan? He goes, chorizo's vegan. And I went, no. And he goes, yeah, it is. And we're like, no. And he goes, yeah, it is. And someone goes, I think you're thinking of soy rizo. And Halston's like, chorizo isn't vegan? It's like the worst meat you can fucking eat.
It's ass meat.
It is the lips and ass of fucking meats.
And still very much
But the
meat.
look on Halson's face is like, and someone's like, you're thinking of soy rizo, and Halson's like, fuck, I am thinking of soy rizo.
I'd never heard of chorizo, only soy rizo.
I'm so sorry, Austin. But you know what? The intent was there.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like you slipped, but it's not because you were like, fuck veganism. You thought you were eating something that was vegan.
I did Coke one time on accident, and I didn't do Coke anymore. We had those little bullets where you'd put the Coke in here, and then you'd turn the thing, and then you'd load it, and then you'd turn it back over, and then there was a little loaded thing of Coke, and you hit it. And my buddies could not figure out how to do it. We're in New York. I am now, not that I've had a Coke problem, but like I definitely was like, I don't want to do Coke anymore. I don't enjoy it. It's not fun for me.
I've never done Coke.
Oh, it's so fucking great.
Everyone says that. Ralph Garman was always like, you don't know what you're missing.
Yo.
I can't believe we hit a subject over which you're speechless. You're like,
it's
I don't know how, I can't find the words to express.
I turned it down 5 times in Australia.
You were just in Australia.
Just as in Australia.
I saw you. So
times.
wait, where did you do? Did you do the Sydney Opera House when you were in Australia?
No. I did the arena there. Yeah, I know. Can I tell you, I'm kind of bummed that I skipped over the Sydney Opera House.
I mean, don't be. You're doing.
I know,
arenas.
but it's so beautiful.
It is beautiful,
and it's so epic. But the place I did was. I will say is way better. It was so much fun. It was fucking awesome.
And you went. It seems like you went to all the places that we've ever gone to when we were there. Like,
Adelaide, Brisbane, Perth,
Melbourne.
Sydney. We did New Zealand. We did
You popped
Wellington
over to
and
New
Auckland.
Zealand when you were there.
And so we were doing. I turned down Coke 5 times, but we were doing these bullet. They had this bullet. I go, guys, just show me. Let me show you how to do it. So I go, guys, you got to load it, but you got to really pop it. So it's locked in there. And now hold it upside down. Now turn it and spin it. Now it should be hit. And when you hit it, you got to hit it like hard, like, and I did it. And I went, oh my God, I just did cocaine. And everyone's like, were you not trying to? And I go, no, I was trying to show you how to do it. And I had to go on stage that night. I fucking murdered. I was so good. I was so on it. I remember guessing people's names and getting them right. Like I was fucking on it. But yeah, I don't really fucking party like that. I've gotten the CT scan, so I have no blockage.
You make sure that you have
zero blockage. My dad had 99% blockage in his Widowmaker.
I had 100% in my Widowmaker.
Again, how cool is it? How cool is it that you're still here?
Yeah,
It's
they told me it was like in 80% of the cases where the patient has a heart attack, like you're having a Widowmaker, the patient always dies.
Yeah.
But the doctor was like, you're going to be in the 20% because I'm good at my job. And he disappeared into my crotch and made magic. That's how they get you. They
You have a stint there now?
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad, this is
99% blockage? Pussy. They don't fuck around with that Widowmaker.
No,
and everyone told me for like the next, this 5 years ago I had it. For the first 2 years, everyone I met was like, you have no idea how fucking lucky you are to live.
Yeah.
Any doctor I met was just like, you shouldn't even be here.
Someone said to me, I told my dad's story, and he goes, you know what? Enough. I hear enough of those stories of guys going, I had 99% blockage in the Widowmaker, and I'm still here. And he goes, everyone says that. And I go, yeah, there's a lot of people that are dead that don't say it.
Don't say it.
That don't say it at all. They don't even
the
bring it
ones
up.
who do say it
are the ones that
lived, and they're like, oh my God, it's amazing.
I can't believe I'm alive.
But there's 80% of the people who have suffered that heart attack who don't get to make those bragging calls.
If anyone's listening right now, there's one thing I can tell you, that if you go to a cardiologist today, you can avoid or correctively fix these problems and not have a heart attack. And it's so fucking important. Yeah. I've been going to a cardiologist since I was like 42, I think.
Preventative. Because you haven't had a heart.
Never had a heart issue, but my father has had hardcore heart stuff. Both my grandfathers died of strokes.
Right.
So I go and I'm on statins, I'm on blood pressure medicine, I'm on blood thinners.
So you're on all the shit I am, and I had a heart attack.
I'm on 20 milligrams of atorvastatin. I'm on amlodipine,
Speak my language, man. Fucking
blood thinners.
Brilinta? Are you on Brilinta?
No, what's that? No, I just take baby aspirin.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah. And so,
like St. Joseph's.
This
chewable baby aspirin.
No, yeah, but they don't taste good.
I like them. They remind me of like St. Joseph's aspirin. They used to give us as kids.
Wait, no, I don't take those. I take the Bear. Oh, the St. Joseph. I remember those. They taste awesome.
Yeah.
I remember going in to get my first CT scan, like my chest scan.
Yep.
And I was not in a good mood. I did not want to go to the doctor. And this older black lady said to me, I need you to fill this out. And I was like, she goes, what's the matter? And I said, I don't want to be here. She goes, let me tell you something, honey. The fact that you walked through those doors means they won't roll you through those doors. And if they roll you through those doors, you really don't want to be here.
That's pretty good.
And I was like, fuck. And my dad said, because he got his fixed, he got his randomly. He went in, they said, you're fine. And he said, I just want to do let me do a CT scan. To be extra certain. And so they did it. And then they said, hey, you have 99% blockage in your widowmaker. You need to come in immediately. And we're going to do a stint immediately. That was 14 years ago.
Wow.
And my dad, it dawned on me, I don't know how we got into it, but my dad said to me, can you believe what I wouldn't have seen in those 14 years? He goes, I would have never seen you succeed. I would have never seen.
You would have seen. How old is your daughter? 16. So
16. He would have met Isla when she was up until 2.
Dad. My dad saw my kid up until the time she was 2, and out he went.
And what that happens, everyone thinks they're not going to die. I'm not going to die in a car. I'm not going to die in front of a camera.
Yeah.
I'm not dying. Halston, what did you say the other day?
I'm not going to die from chorizo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But the truth is, you think of how much time you've gotten 5 years.
Yeah.
That you'll
borrowed time. I always said after the heart attack, I was like, I know I'm living on borrowed time. And my wife was like, that's fucking macabre. I was like, no, it's fucking true.
Yeah.
I was supposed to die in that room. And thanks to Dr. Leidenheim, I didn't. So everything at this point is like fucking bonus.
Dude. Well,
but then my fucking heart broke. And then 5 years later, my mind broke. Yeah. So I'm like, what happens in 5 more years? My dick break? My ass break? Something's got to break.
I'm on track pretty good. My heart's good. My mind's, I'm like probably 2 years off my mental breakdown.
You got some time.
I got some time.
You'll get a lot done before that happens. But also, it's so wise that you're on fucking heart shit now.
I'm hyper aware. I'm very corrective. My wife's always said that. Like, I'm very sensitive to like, oh, something's going on with me. I need to like, because I'm in therapy and like I can pick. I go. I need to fix certain things or like I'll take time off from drinking. Go. I need a break. Like I gotta like my biggest thing is my weight right now. I just need to lose fucking weight. I wish I could fucking.
You got a Bacchus thing going on.
What's Bacchus?
Bacchus, the god of fucking like parties and fucking drinking and eating and shit like that. Is and you're making it work. That's a cool thing.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you got your heart fixed and your head fixed because I'm so privileged to be able to talk to you.
Vice versa.
Thank you so much.
Believe me, I'm leaving here today, walking on air. I had a good ass fucking time. However, we started at what time?
I have no idea.
2 hours, 35 minutes.
So
are you fucking serious?
I remember when I came in, they're like, you were going to do 2 podcasts, but Bert doesn't have the time. He can only do 1, and maybe you'll do another one another day. And I was like, that's totally cool. We could have done 3 podcasts.
We could have done 3. Oh, you have to come back ASAP to do the next. I might do Bertcast. I could talk to you forever.
Vice versa.
You're fucking amazing. I'm such a
Vice
fan.
Versa.
I've been such a fan for so long.
I'm so eager for the Machine opening May 26th. Tickets at themachine.com.
Machine.movie.
Machine.
You can pre-order them.
I'm so eager to see what happens. I predict, and I don't think like I have to be a prognosticator to predict this. I predict it's going to do insanely well.
From your mouth to God's ears.
No, you could feel it. It's in the air.
Oh, please.
And there's a lot of people like rooting for you.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. No, it's going to fucking punch through.
Dude, I absolutely love you. I'll see you at the premiere.
Done and done.
And then we're coming out. We'll do a screen.
You heard it here. Smodcastle Cinemas.
Yeah.
Go get tickets at smodcastleCinemas.com. That show will sell out so fucking fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How
buddy.
often do you go to suburban New Jersey?
Where
are your Jersey venues when you go to Jersey?
Newark. Newark, Count Basie, is that in Jersey?
Count Basie is literally Red Bank. That's
where
Red James Red Bob's Secret Stash is. You play Count Basie.
Yeah.
The Smodcastle Cinemas, Count Basie is where we started the convenience store. Had 2 shows that night. Smodcastle Cinemas is like 10 minutes from the Count Basie in Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey.
I'm coming out. I've been coming out to New York a bunch. So once I come to New York, I'll swing up to Jersey.
And it don't have to be like opening week of the movie and shit. You showing up with the movie, you can come 6 months later, it'll still fucking sell.
I wish we could do a screening before the movie came out.
Fuck.
I guess that's not how movies work, huh?
That will put you in I'm sure Sony might have something to say about that.
I didn't know you couldn't share trailers before the trailer people saw them.
Yes.
I got in trouble for that.
You put that up, you're like, look at this. And they were like, Dick.
The movie was sitting on a shelf and I was like, it's a good movie. And we got a teaser and I was like, this is a fucking good teaser. I go, fuck it. I go, let me just air it on Rogan.
How mad were they?
pretty livid.
I don't know. If I'm them and you aired it on Rogan, I'd be like, I mean, fuck.
Well, what happened? I aired it on Rogan. I texted one dude first. I was like, hypothetically speaking, if I air this on Rogan, will I get sued for $30 million? And he was like, hypothetically, I didn't get this fucking text. and then I cleared it by enough people,
Right.
like soft cleared it, where I go, I don't think I'll get in trouble. And I didn't get in trouble immediately, but I definitely got a talking to. It's amazing how many people.
And the talking to is
slap on the wrist.
like,
Yeah.
don't, come on,
You're not allowed
machine,
to do that.
don't do that.
And then I did this.
And they probably chastised the machine and not Bert, so you got away scot-free.
Yeah, the machine's fucking.
That's who you blame. You're like,
Teflon.
fucking machine did that.
And Bert was the one. Bert woke up the next day and he was like, "What the fuck did we do? Are you fucking out of your
Machine's like,
mind?"
shut the fuck up, I got this.
The machine's like, "Shut the fuck up. We had a party on Rogan. You were fucking blacked out drunk."
If I'm the head of a studio, even if I was like, man, I had fucking plans for that trailer, and you're like, we debuted it on Rogan, I'd be like, my plans are stupid. You've debuted it at least in a venue where like it was going to be seen by the audience that is going to support it.
Yeah,
It was not a dumb move. That was a smart move. Shrewd,
Yeah.
very shrewd.
I
very
did it again. I
strategic.
did it again in the Tampa arena.
That's fine.
Yeah, they were cool with that.
In a live space,
yeah.
it's not like on the internet.
Yeah, they were cool with that. And then but there've been a couple times where they've been like, "Hey, just so you know, we do make big movies, and like you're not really good at this. Like you've never made a movie."
Right.
Like I actually had that conversation. I literally had that conversation. You've never done this,
Right.
and this is what we do for a living.
Right.
So like, just giving you a heads up. The thing you just want to do, we have 40 people that do that.
Right.
So let's let them do that. And I was like, but what if I?
From a guy who's been in the business 30 years, in the movie business 30 years, God knoweth how, I think you did the exact right thing.
I hope so. I hope everyone goes out to the movies.
When the movie opens to $152 million, as predicted,
$152 million,
It's
guys.
it's the right
Anything
decision.
shy is a failure.
Anything
Anything
say
shy.
that. Don't say that.
Okay, but above 152 million, it's a home run.
Oh my God. Above $152 million, they let you run the business, dude.
Can you imagine what would happen to my career if it opened to 152 million dollars?
I mean,
Well,
what
tell me-
more
tell me-
do you want?
You tell me what would happen to my career if my
Your
movie,
wife buys 5 more houses that week.
What would be the call I get Monday? Like, tell me who would call me first.
Bob Iger, the head of Disney, is just like, please run our company.
Guys, do me a favor. Go see my movie. Make it open to $152
Just so you
million.
can get that call.
Trust me, I will make Hollywood fun again. We'll be doing coke on the Lakers court. It'll be fucking a blast.
Make Hollywood fun again.
Make
There's your
Hollywood fun-
platform.
Make Hollywood fun again. Red hats. Make Hollywood fun
Red
again.
hats.
Oh, fuck. You're the best, Kevin. Thank you for doing this.
I was just going to say you're the best. So that
No.
rocks.
Thank you, dude.
Thank you for having me.
Fuck yeah.
Bert and Tom, Tom and Bert. One goes topless while the other wears a shirt. Tom tells stories and Bert's the machine. There's not a chance in hell that they'll keep it clean. Here's what we call 2 bears, 1 cave. No scripts, a bit of booze, amateur partology. Dirty jokes, raunchy humor, no apologies. Here's what we call 2 bears, 1 cave.